I hope you can help me.
Well, we can certainly make an effort. What's up?
Okay, well, I'm kind of in the middle of wondering if I should continue my education or not. I just got my AA in radio broadcasting a couple days ago.
In broadcasting?
Uh-huh.
Are you working in our business?
Yeah.
What you do?
Well, I'm working at a news talk station, and I also work at a country western station, too, here in town.
What do you do?
Well, on the weekends, I play country music, and I'm a DJ, and then over here, I engineer all the talk shows.
Work aboard, huh?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
Married, single, what?
Single.
I'd get the degree, kid.
Yeah.
The AA, it's a good start, but that's all it is a good start.
Yeah, math really stresses me out, though. Well, I'm wondering if it's going to be worth it.
I don't care if you get a degree in gum chewing, basket weaving, basketball. Doesn't matter to me. It doesn't have to be communications, and you should be able to get past most of the courses that I think it's kind of fun because more and more young people are getting degrees in communications, and that's where the talent of the next century is going to come from. But having said all that, if you want to do it there, take a minor in communications, a major in something else. But
yeah, I'd like to take some courses in TV too.
Well, go ahead, get the degree.
Yeah, but like this last semester, I took some algebra, and it just about killed me. I had to have a tutor, and I never studied so much.
Good.
I never had any trouble with any other classes except math, and it just killed me.
Have you had a statistics course yet?
Oh, no, don't even say that.
Oh, what do you get into that? That was my nemesis, I'll tell you. I never had much trouble in college. But that was one place that, boy, that summation signs and the rest of that stuff, I really never understood it. Don't want to understand standard deviation.
Imaginary numbers.
Yeah, I just had nothing that just didn't do it for me.
And I talk to people and they tell me, oh, well, you're never going to use it, or I never used it. And
that may or may not be the case, but if it's a required course, you take it. And get the degree. Okay. Do yourself a major kindness.
Okay. I guess I'm just going to have to get another tutor.
Suck it up. That's all.
Really...
Sure. Just, there's some times when you just got to stand there and, as I said, suck it up and say, I'm going to get through this. And almost most of us, I think, talk to some other people who've been to school. Most of us had some. Well, for me, it was statistics. I remember I can tell you the teacher's name all these years later, right?
Yeah.
But most of us hit a course or two that we just simply have or not a course, but a discipline that we have some difficulty with. It's the way life is.
Yeah, I just wish it came easier to me. It's not fair that it comes easier to some people.
Yeah, but there's stuff that comes easy to you. Let me tell you something. There are people that are whipping through that math course, right? If you stuck a microphone in their face and said, talk, they would freeze. Their blood would turn to lime jello. Yeah. Isn't that true?
Probably.
It's no problem for you, is it?
Well, I'm freezing talking to you right now.
I don't know. Well, it doesn't sound to me like your blood has turned anything but what it's supposed to be. You're doing fine.
Well, you sound great, and I always listen to you.
You're a sweetheart.
Thanks a lot.
I wish you well, dear. Grottos, Someplace, Virginia. I don't know. Where are we going to Virginia?
Grottos.
I was right the second time. 1 out of 3 ain't bad. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm a mother of 3 small kids, and I love to sew, and I make all my girls' clothes, or most of them. And my question is on how to market to keep it small, but enough of an income to make a worthwhile.
Well, the problem is, unless you can find people who are really prepared to pay for custom stuff, you just can't compete. You can't compete with the Far East, and you can't compete with the mills here either, for that matter, that are automated. You've got to find those few parents who want something special, or have a child that is oddly proportioned, where clothes have to be custom made. That's the market. You're not going to compete in the ordinary stuff that they can walk down to Kmart or, that type of a store and purchase. You just can't compete.
Well, do you have any ideas on how to find these parents?
Yeah, it's called advertising. That's the way. You can run some, and classified ads in a newspaper are not that expensive.
Right.
But if you put it in for 2 days and the phone doesn't ring, don't quit.
Right.
I mean, say, I'm going to try it for 3 months or 4 months.
What kinds of things would I need to say in order to attract the right parent?
Well, first of all, we've talked about this so often. You got to find out who your ducks are. Now, I just suggested something off the top of my head that there are children, there are people, and some of those people are children that are hard to fit. Perhaps a little too narrow in the hips and too broad in the shoulders, or the other way around, or whatever. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
I mean, one of my kids is just he's got huge shoulders and narrow hips. Very hard for him to go out and buy clothing. I mean, I should have that problem, you see. But you know what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
And that's what you'd say in the ad. If you've had a difficult time fitting your child because they don't fit the standard dimensions, why not call me reasonably priced children's clothing or something of that nature?
Uh-huh. Now, what if I wanted to get the kind of parent who is willing to spend bukus of money?
Fine, same thing. Custom-made children's clothing.
Uh-huh.
If you demand the very best, I believe I can deliver. Why don't we get together and discuss it? Don't have to be for brain surgery here. And then be able to deliver what you say.
Yeah.
That's the next part of the equation.
Well, many people have complimented me on my clothes,
Mm-hmm.
and I've sold two outfits to a grandmother or granddaughter.
How much did you sell them for?
Well, how I did it was she bought all the material, and I just
Did the labor. So how many hours did you put into these things?
I really, it would be so hard to.
No, it's not hard. You got to keep track. You really do.
I would say it would take me 8 hours.
And how much did
at the most.
And how much did you charge?
20.
You didn't even get $3 an hour. It's $2.50 an hour. Not enough. You see what I mean by not competing?
Yeah.
You've got to be able to charge at least minimum wage for yourself, and then play for your advertising. You have to double that. At least. I wish you well, sweetheart.
Well, thanks.
Take care of those rugrats. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Belleville, Michigan. Hello there.
How you doing, Mr. Williams?
I'm doing fine. Name is Bruce. What's on your mind?
A couple questions, sir. I've just received a letter from dated April 23rd, 1990, from a certain development corporation out of Florida.
Oh.
They're filing for a reorganization of Chapter 11.
Yeah, what's that got to do with you?
Well, I own 2 pieces of property under this particular development corporation.
Oh, okay.
And in the letter, they're asking continue payment, number one. And they're also suggested is that I contact an attorney, and I'd like to know where to go from there.
Well, what they're they're holding the paper on your lots, right?
Affirmative.
All right. Have the improvements been put in yet that you were promised? Streets, sewers, that sort of stuff.
I'm paying on the utilities and.
But they're there.
Affirmative. Okay.
Well, you're covered. You don't have to worry about that. So the guy that has the lot down the street where the sewer hasn't been dragged.
Yes, sir.
Could be in a little deeper problem here.
Right.
Now, the company that's holding them, you are an asset of that company.
Affirmative.
And they're going to want to continue, and paying them, I don't think, puts you in any jeopardy. Now, why they recommended that you see an attorney, I don't know.
This is a general cover-all letter. Your legal rights, my question is they're asking me, or they're suggesting that I contact an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm not sure what else you would have to do. The lots are in your name.
I won't mention.
No, it doesn't matter. The lots are in your name.
Yes, sir.
It's a fee simple situation where they are holding the paper and you're making the payments to them.
Okay.
So your paper is their asset, and it's secured by the mortgage.
Okay.
You're not worried about them building the streets and whatever that they promised you because they're already there. Is that correct?
Affirmative.
I don't see what you got to worry about, tell you the truth.
They're asking me to make a continuous payment, number one.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And then they're asking me, again, to contact my own attorney.
Yeah, I understand
This is
that.
out of a corporation, out of...
No, it doesn't matter. I understand that.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if we can find an attorney, though. What's the comment? Because I don't see what else you'd have to do to protect yourself, but it's very possible I'm overlooking something. Okay, counselor, you've heard the story, the scenario. The number's 212-245-6040, 212-245-6040. What would you do if one of your clients called you under these circumstances? What is required for them to do to protect their interests? 212-245-6040. Let's take a little time out. When we come back, hopefully we'll find an attorney who can help us out a little bit. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. I have an attorney from Miami. Hello there.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, kid.
I heard your comments with respect to the gentleman that has the undeveloped lots.
Yeah, they're undeveloped lots, but they are improved. He's making his payments to the developer. The developer is now Chapter 11. The developer says, please keep sending money, and also consult your attorney. Your turn. What else does he do to protect himself?
Well, what I would suggest, it sounds like a situation which is occurring down here, and I won't mention the name of the company.
Mm-hmm.
There's a criminal prosecution involved with respect to overcharging on the lots. Additionally...
How did you want to overcharge on a lot?
Well, in this particular situation, they were misrepresenting the value of these lots to very naive and unsophisticated buyers from the Northeast.
I see.
And there's questions regarding the appraisals that they were offering in order to substantiate the valuations that they were demanding for the lot.
I see.
The case has received quite a bit of notoriety here. The principals of the company, this is a very large company, some have been indicted, and the company has pled guilty and agreed to restitution. I believe it was $100 million.
Wow.
But now that is in jeopardy because of the Chapter 11.
Well, at least temporarily.
Yes. But there is a lawyer that represents a number of these investors, and his name is Doug Lyons, Lyons.
Okay.
And if it's this situation in Miami, I would suggest that he immediately contact Mr. Lyons, who's acting for a number of different plaintiffs, and he may be able to give him some general information.
Hey, I really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
$100 million, huh?
Yes.
What am I doing working for minimum? Yeah, I don't understand. I hear these numbers. They're mind-boggling, aren't they?
It certainly is.
Guys are out there, Ivan Boesky, and $500 million. I'm doing something wrong, decidedly.
I think you're doing something right.
Well, thank you very much, Counselor. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Hang in there.
Thank you. Bye.
Boy, that's big-time money, isn't it? Wow. I can't even think of numbers that size. But I think what he's saying is that the way the developer operated was he sucked people in and said, "Oh, this is a $20,000 lot," and he had all kinds of documentation, however spurious, to prove that the lot was worth 20, when the lot was probably worth 4,000 or 5,000 or 2,000 or 1,000, and somebody got wind of it. Can't do that kind of stuff. Hey, tomorrow I need your help. Yeah, we're going to get started on the Memorial, hard to believe, the first big weekend of the summer, Memorial Day weekend. And we're going to come in a little bit early, Sheila and I, do our thing from 1:30 through 5:30, taking those calls of yours off the air and laying them down on tape and using them a little later on in the evening. Now, the number, if you'd like to participate, and sometimes it's a tad easier to get through, number is 1-800-TALKNET. You like the digits? 1-800-825-5638, 800-825-5638. And I would appreciate if you call. If you get a busy signal, just wait a couple seconds and call, or a couple of minutes, and give us a shout back. And, oh, yeah, by the by, in this busy signal caper, if you get a busy, there's no point in hanging on. You can hang on forever, and you'll still get a busy. You must hang up and dial again. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Let's go to Dallas and see what's happening. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Is that me, guy?
It's you, baby. What's on your mind?
I've got a problem with a car dealership here. You up to it?
I'll do my best.
I picked out this car. I wanted a brand new one, 91. I go down there. And
91?
Well, they're just coming out brand new.
Yeah, I guess the 91s are. Boy, pretty soon the 92s will be out, yeah.
All right, so I go down and haggle with this guy all afternoon. We bicker back and forth. We fight. We settle on a car I want, settle on the amount that he's going to take. give him the money. He checks out my credit. I signed that contract they got. I drive the car off.
I'm sorry. What was the last part?
I drive the car off. We settle on deal.
Oh, right there, right on the spot, huh?
Yeah. Well, it took half the day.
But I mean, you just the same day they prepped it up and off you go, huh?
Yeah, it was a showroom model. So I drive it off, and about 2 days elapsed, go by, and then the guy calls me back and he says that there's something wrong with my credit. It didn't go by, that he's got to have the car back.
Huh.
My question is, do I have a deal? Can I stand on it, or does he get the car back?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm not sure I know the answer to that because I don't know what you signed.
I signed one of those.
But I mean, there could be a line in there saying that So you have to
a copy of it. You tell me.
You'll have to read what you signed. You got a fax machine there? I don't want to play lawyer. I say you could fax it to me right now, but that's not going to do it. You should read it, and if you don't understand it, get an attorney to read it to you.
That's what I'm going to do.
What was the problem with the credit? Let's attack it from that.
The guy won't say. He just says bring it back that the credit didn't clear.
And what does he?
When he was there, he ran the check with his computer scan, whatever.
What does he want to do when you get back? He wants to give you your money back. You gave him some money, didn't you?
Yeah, I gave him a down payment.
How much?
$1,500.
And what's he want to do about that?
Don't really know. He just says bring the car back. That the credit wasn't approved after all. He once said that he wanted some more money. He's going to take more money to hang on to the car. I need more down payment.
I hear that. Well, who's that in the background? Your wife?
That's my second command here. Yeah, we called the consumer people.
Yeah.
The number they said, and they said that the contract. It's what the hell is this thing called? Excuse me. It's called a retail installment sales
conditional sales contract. Yeah.
I've filled them out before when I bought other cars, and I've never just had this come up where the guy.
Well, first of all, I would want to know why. I'd ask him why. He's probably going to tell you that he wants more money down because your credit is shaky or something of that kind. Now, the question is, can you put more money down?
I don't think I want to.
I didn't ask you that. I said, can you?
Yeah, I can put more money down if I have to.
I understand you don't want to. And then the next thing is, could you finance it elsewhere?
Possibly.
And at the same rate of interest?
I don't know about the same rate, but I could find other financing probably.
Well, I talked to him about that as well. When you get out to see him, I wouldn't drive the car down. You'll be able to see it disappear around the corner.
Yeah. They advised me to protect myself on that part. But I want to know, am I subject to arrest or something?
I don't know. You see, I don't know the answers to that because you've got the paperwork there. I read it very carefully, one line at a time. Now, if you don't understand, that's not a crime. Yeah. But go on one of the legal clinics. For $25, one of the attorneys down there will analyze it for you.
Okay. I appreciate it, Bruce.
Good luck, my friend. This must be a custom that is not common in my part of the world. This sending folks home before the credit has been finally approved. But apparently it is not uncommon in other parts of the country. Certainly it seems to me that when you get that far, when you take the car home, it ought to be yours. The deal should be done. But then it would appear that it's customary to let people go home, and if it doesn't work out, come on back. I don't understand that. I'm Bruce Williams. I'm delighted you're here, and you can bet on that. Take that, the Barclays. This is Talknet. Wilmore, Kentucky. Hello there.
Hello there.
How you doing, brother?
I'm just doing fine, Bruce. Glad to finally talk to you. I enjoy your show very much.
Thank you. What's on your mind?
Okay, I'm currently running a personal care home. I just have one person that I take care of. But I have always wanted to learn dog grooming. And there is a school very near me, but it's very expensive. And I don't have a lot of savings, and I'm not very young.
All right.
And I'm not real sure if it's the right thing to do is to take this amount of money and to learn dog grooming.
Well, let's assume that you've learned. First of all, how much does it cost?
$37.95. To me, that's a lot of money.
$3,800?
Right.
To learn how to dog groom?
Yes. And that's pretty much the going rate. I've checked with several schools, and this school...
Is it really?
Yes, this school that I'm thinking about going to is one of the finest in the country.
It ought to be. Boy.
Yeah.
$3,800 to learn how to cut a dog's toenails. My goodness.
Well, it's a little more than toenails.
I would think so.
I already know how to do that.
All right. Now, let me ask this of you. Have you discussed this with any of the dog groomers in the area?
Yes, I have.
I mean, about getting a job if you graduate.
Oh, yes.
What do they say?
You can get a job any place in this country as a dog groomer. They're crying for dog groomers everywhere.
Well, but is it necessary to go to school to be a dog groomer?
Well, yes, if you want to be a real professional at it.
You can't learn on the job, huh?
Well, not to be very good at it, is the way I understand it.
All right. Now, how much They're telling you that you can walk in and get a job if you take this. How long is the course?
It's 15 weeks.
All right. And will some of these folks offer you a job that you've talked to?
Well, they have a placement service, but my vet...
Oh, wait, let's back up.
Okay.
I asked you a question. Did they tell you get a job anywhere in the country, or did you go to some...
No.
You went to some other dog groomer and they told you that?
No, they're assuming that you can get a job most any place in the country because...
Who's assuming? Who's assuming?
Well, okay, the person who runs the school...
Oh, the hell with them. I want to know if you've been down to talk to anybody in the dog grooming business.
Okay, that's what I just started to tell you.
Yeah.
My vet here in town...
Yeah.
Assures me that when I finish school, she will have dogs for me to groom because her clients are looking for dog groomers.
They are.
We don't have one in the town I live in.
Oh, that's maybe you found your niche. How big of a town are you in?
Oh, it's just a little town, 2,500 people.
Well, how many dogs? I mean,
well, I think quite a few in this entire area.
Is there enough to see? I assume that your vet treats a lot of animals besides dogs.
Oh yes.
So, is there enough there to make a living?
Well, I'm not worried about making a living at it after I'm finished with this because I can keep the job that I have now and do this sort of on the side. Mm-hmm. But what I'm looking at is down the road as that it would be training that I could do after retirement.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it seems to me I pay about $10, $12 to have Mickey washed and waxed.
More than that. I had mine done today and it was $24.
Well, I don't have to pay that much in my neighborhood. I really don't.
You're lucky.
I think they clip him, and not his fur, because his fur doesn't need any clipping. You know, he's a short-haired dog.
Oh, well, that's the difference.
But they do his toenails, and they do his whiskers, and wash him up, and that kind of good stuff, the glands, and the rest of it. Mm-hmm. And it's $10 or $12, I recall. Yeah,
that's about all it would take for that type of a dog. Mm-hmm. But if you're doing cockers or poodles or something like that, then it runs more money.
Okay, well, listen, you're going to have to do 370 dogs at $10 a pop to break even on this deal.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth the investment?
Well, that's why I called you. I wondered if it's worth...
Well, I don't know. You see, you've thrown so many variables at me. You're saying nobody does it around here. Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that you would be a skilled craftsman. That is also good.
Okay.
But and you're telling me, because I don't know this, that this is a competitive rate.
Yes, it is.
Well, in that case, you can scrape up the $3,800 without putting yourself in a poorhouse?
Well, that was my whole point in the first place is that I have that much money. I have a little more than that saved up. And
this is going to tap you out, is that correct?
That's what I'm saying. Do I want to spend that much to learn this?
Not unless you're...
But see, I'm thinking down the road when I need extra income after retirement.
Well, how old are you?
Dog grooming.
How old are you?
I'm 52.
Oh, you got a long way to go then.
Well, it don't seem like it.
Well, that's another program. Well, the question is, if you're really serious, I mean really, really serious, I have no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're making an investment in you, and who better to invest in than you?
Well, I love dogs so much that I want to work with dogs. I've worked with people and, people all my life, and now I want to work with dogs.
There you go. Well, I like dogs, but not enough to give them baths, thank you. I do wish you well, dear.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hang in there. Giving Mickey the mud a bath is an ordeal. I mean, he makes you feel like you've put him through cut his whiskers I do on the air. I mean, that's easy. But the bath routine, I mean, he looks at you like, you rat, you louse. They're all once a year. What the heck? Lexington, Kentucky. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
First-time caller, long-time listener.
Oh, I'm so pleased.
Very, very interesting, knowledgeable show.
Well, thank you.
I've got a couple of. I've already done this, so
You've done the dirty deed. Go ahead.
I've done the deed, and I did it about 8 years ago. I bought a condo in Florida.
All right.
Okay, for one week.
Oh, you mean you bought a timeshare?
Timeshare, right. 1 week in August, which they consider prime time.
Why do they consider August prime time?
Well, June, July, and August is your...
Whatever happens in January, February, and March.
Well, those are, say, like, majority of your retired people and so forth.
Where in Florida is this?
Pardon?
Where in Florida?
Daytona. It's beachfront.
Yeah. Okay. I never thought of prime time as July and August, but that's all right. Go ahead.
My two questions. When I have turned on your show to listen to you in the evenings, the few times you have talked about timeshare, I've just caught the tail ends. What I would like to do is nitpick your brain a little bit and let you run through the pros and cons of timeshare again.
But at this point, what purpose is to be served?
Just from that?
Yes, sir. Not just from that. I am confident that the rules and regulations that were adopted by the then owners, that's the other, allow for all kinds of penalties, and you're going to have to pay them.
So I better get that cleaned up first.
Yes, sir. I think, you see, I understand your frustration.
But I'm pretty stuck here.
But you can't, any more than if you don't like the way that the town is running things, can you say, well, the hell with you guys, I'm not paying my taxes.
Right.
You can't do that. It might be nice if one could, but you're not allowed to do that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Now, there are some things that you can do, would seem to me. First of all, as a practical proposition, most, and I belong to 3 homeowners organizations now that I think about it. I belong to 4. It's frightening.
Sure.
All right? In the first 3, I've never been to a meeting. In the last one, I was president for a while. But most people don't go to meetings. Fair enough?
Right.
So if all of your guys show up at the annual meeting, the likelihood is you could elect your own board of trustees and change the existing structure.
Right.
This is
from the inside.
Really, this is a case of, it's far to your advantage in terms of just practicality, the pragmatic approach to work from the inside. Than try to, it's easier as a practical matter to get elected mayor than it is to form a new community.
That's pretty hard to do, huh?
Oh, it's almost impossible.
The way the builder was talking, she said we had a chance at it, but again, I haven't heard from her, so.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was easy for her to say it to get out of the room.
Right.
You'd be much better off to attack this from within.
Okay.
But all of you guys, now you were all upset enough to come to this one meeting, right?
Right.
Check out, first thing you got to do, I'm going to give you an assignment, fair enough?
Okay.
Read and understand, and there's 2 different things there, the bylaws of the organization. Have an attorney, must be in that 25 people, there's probably at least one of them's a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Have them go over the thing and look for any, for lack of a better term, loopholes, things that you can take advantage of, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes time, and don't do it, but don't run over, with a banner flying over the airplane. When the next election comes along, take over the organization.
Okay.
I wish you well, kid.
Thanks a lot, Bruce.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. From New Jersey, our next stop is Grants Pass, Oregon. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hello, Bruce. How are you?
I am very well, thank you.
I'm a truck driver, and I listen to your programs wherever I can pick it up and down my jaunts up and down the West Coast.
Yes, sir.
And I think you're pretty savvy on a lot of this going on, and I've got a problem with what they charge in shops for truck repairs. I'm sure they do it on automotive repairs, too. Mm-hmm. When they are on what is called just an hourly scale and not a flat rate, they seem to charge you for, and I don't say seem, I know they do because they told me this, for breaks during the break time, and it appears like they're charging for their lunch hours, too.
Probably so.
Is this legal and able to do it? I mean,
you can there's, unless you're in a restrictive environment such as a public utility, you can charge what you want to charge, and the customer can either pay it or look elsewhere.
Right.
And when you get into a monopoly situation, such as electricity, there's only one electric company in town, then we regulate those rates by filings, but we don't have any filings for the open road because, as a practical matter, if routinely people charge too much, a competitor will come along and charge less.
Yeah, right.
And force the price down.
Well,
it's unregulated.
What a person should do then, I guess, in my instance and everybody's, if they're when they go into the shop, they ask automatically, do you charge for
Absolutely.
For that, or if you don't like it, I guess you go down the road and go someplace else.
Find someplace else. I got a bill the other day from a mechanic, and I couldn't believe the labor charge. I mean, it was, you get an operation for that kind of money.
Oh, yeah, right.
And his attitude was, you don't like it, go somewhere else.
That's the trouble.
Boy, talk about brusque. Well, the hell with you, pal. I don't understand how you can do business that way.
Well, I don't either. There's so many people behind me that'll go in and accept it, I guess, that they could care less.
It just seems to me, I'm always in the same position with you, that there's 20 other guys willing to do what I'm doing, And if I don't take care of my customers, they'll make them their customers. And yet I am constantly running into people such as this repair organization that either they don't understand or just don't care. One of the two.
Yeah, well, they've got too much business behind.
Well,
can I ask you another?
Sure, that doesn't last forever, though.
Yeah, right. There's somebody else move in on it. Can I ask you another quick question? You may not be able to answer me or not.
Shoot.
Are you aware of there's a company advertising for grants? They can inform you that there's grants, either business grants.
I have heard them where the advertisements go something like, the United States government spent $500,000 looking at the sex life of the tsetse fly. Now, you want part of these grants and so forth, and spend some money with us, and we'll tell you where to get them.
That's the one, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Are they valid? Or?
Ask me the question a little differently. I'm gonna give you the question to ask me, okay?
Okay.
Bruce, would you do a commercial for a company that was selling this stuff?
Would you?
I want to hear you ask the question.
Bruce, would you do a commercial with these people that are selling this stuff?
Not with a gun to my head.
Okay, well, that's what I was curious on, because they charge you $99 for their booklet information, and they're supposed to help you.
Not with a cannon in my mouth would I do the commercial for that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because like I said, I pay a lot of attention to what you say, and I would hope not that you wouldn't advertise for somebody that you don't agree on. So.
Well, I wouldn't. I'm not. That's not to say that I have not done commercials for companies that have not done things that I'm not happy about, because I have.
You're right. Uh-huh.
Those things happen, but we try to be particular. And if in my opinion, I can't work with that company, I won't do them. And we turn down a ton of stuff. That is not to say that they can't advertise on my program. I have no control over that, and I would not want that control.
Right.
But I have every control over what's in my voice.
Is there a way of finding out about government grants through a government organization?
Well, any of the information that these companies sell is available free if you're willing to do the legwork.
Okay.
I wish you well, my friend.
I appreciate it, sir.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more Talknet. We're off and running to Sarasota, Florida. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Well, thank you, sir. I've listened for a long, long time. It's the first opportunity I've had to chat with you. I think I have a problem, or maybe I'm playing hardball. I was a passenger on a cruise, and for almost 5 days, we stayed in port.
How come?
Propeller damage.
5? How long was the cruise?
17 days. And they fed us, true. The entertainment was terrible. And when we did leave port finally, we just had a limp along because the ship had to go into dry dock when we returned.
You're kidding.
No, I am not. And today I received a check for $952, which represents 1/17 of my fare.
Hold it. Hold the phone. Hey, let me. How many people are you taking on this little mission?
It was just my roommate and I.
2 of you?
Yes.
Now, how much did the whole package cost?
Well, it was $4,000 apiece.
$8,000.
Yes.
For 17 days. Well, that's not.
That's not too bad.
4,000. No, it's not.
No, because
But you spent 5 days in port. Did they give you the option of canceling right there?
We could have left, yes.
At the beginning, and got all your money back.
That is right.
Why don't you do that?
My roommate wouldn't. She wanted to go. She thought, they kept telling us, we're going to sail in 3 hours. We'll sail in the morning. We will sail in the afternoon. No, they gave us the option of leaving, but we had airline tickets to come back from port.
Well, you could have gone on a different vacation or gone on a different ship and whatever you said.
But I think it's my opinion, and I want a sure opinion as to whether or not I'm being hardball by thinking they should give us a percentage off on another cruise.
And they gave you back $1,000 on your 8. Is that correct?
It was $952.
Well, that's $1,000.
Yes.
Close enough.
Mm-hmm.
On your 8.
So it was disappointing. It was discouraging. It was everything.
This a major cruise line?
Yes.
Yeah, I would think that they should be agreeable on top of this to giving you a 30 or 40% discount on your next cruise.
I was going to write them a letter.
I would do so.
Because I'm a cruiser, and
I would point that out to them.
Oh, on
that you're a regular customer.
Oh, yes.
And that the only reason you hung around was because they kept telling you you're off and running in 10 minutes.
That's right.
And don't go into the thing that your roommate wanted to and you didn't.
No. And we missed 5 ports of call.
I would point that out, too.
Yes.
And that you were disappointed, but you'd still like to cruise with them, but you really feel that you ought to get a 50% discount on the next cruise. Make it 50%.
Well, thank you. I'll take you with us.
They could give you that with no trouble.
I thought so, but I wanted to get your valued opinion.
You might tell them that you discussed this with me.
All right.
Over 300 and some odd radio stations.
I see.
And that was my opinion, and one who enjoys cruising.
Oh yeah.
And that I expressed the opinion that a 50% discount on your next cruise would not be unreasonable.
Well, thank you so much, and I'll send you a card if we get it.
I hope so.
Thank you so much.
Take good care.
Bye-bye.
Grizzled, you look at my face. Grizzled, Iowa. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. I have a question, or I'd like your opinion on something.
Let's talk. I am the world's leading authority on my opinion.
Well, that's what I hear every time I listen to your show.
I know more about my opinion than anybody else.
And I agree there. I recently purchased a new car, and I bought it outright, and I did not trade the previous car I had in on it because the dealers, well, they wouldn't give me what I'd want for it.
Yeah, all right. So you figured you'd sell the car yourself.
Right. So I've put ads in the papers, and I've gotten a few phone calls from just private individuals. Well, I've been approached by a dealer to sell the car on consignment.
All right. That's okay. On consignment, though, go ahead.
Okay. The deal is for $150.
Yeah.
I set it on their lot. The $150 they say goes for their mechanics to go through it and make sure there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
I have to keep the insurance on it and keep it licensed while it sits on their lot.
All right.
And they want to know a certain price what I want for it, and then they ask $300 more for it.
All right. How much is this car selling for?
The book value is $8,900.
All right, so we're not talking about, okay, I just wanted to get a ballpark as contrasted with a $1,000 car. It'd be crazy, but
no.
Where you're getting up the big numbers. All right, go ahead.
And, let's see,
What are you going to ask for the car?
I've asked $9,100 for it, and they are, in turn, are asking $9,400.
Well, that's a little high. If you want the car to sell, you got to get down where the price is going to move.
Well, I'm the person that, start high and you always come down.
Well, I agree with that, but you start too high, nobody even begins to negotiate.
Okay.
Well, I'm just pointing that out, that's all.
I understand.
Now, do you have to sign it up for any length of time?
No.
Suppose in the meantime you could sell it yourself. Are you obliged to give them their commission?
No. The only thing I'm out is $150.
All right. Is the dealer one that's established?
Yes, it's reputable.
Well, I have no problem with that. They're entitled to what the $150 for the prep, and they're certainly entitled to a commission if they sell it. But I want them responsible if something happens to the automobile. Hang on a second. We'll pick you up around the corner. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Some name, Grizzle, Iowa, and he's considering putting his car onto a dealer's lot for a commission basis. I have no problem with that, but there are a couple of things I'd want to make clear to this guy. First of all, that he doesn't allow anybody to come onto the lot to test drive the car without one of his people going for the ride. Is that agreeable?
My people or the dealer?
No, the dealer's guys.
Okay.
I don't want to just hand the keys to the car and the car drives down the street and was never heard from again.
Well, they have assured me that one of their representatives always goes with the car.
Okay, fine. That they would use hopefully decent judgment in that regard. That I would give them some ability to negotiate, but within parameters. Because you can bet your life, if they're working on a fixed, whatever the number was, $500 or $300 over and above, they're going to quickly drop down to the lowest possible area that you'll accept to get the deal done.
Right.
So you want to make certain that's spelled out. Go ahead.
Is it really up to me as far as how many days to let them have the car?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So give them a fair amount of days to...
Yeah, I wouldn't give them forever.
Well, what would your opinion be forever?
I don't know, a couple of weeks.
Okay. Sound
reasonable?
Well, I was online. I didn't know maybe say 30 days.
But you see, a car can depreciate considerably in 30 days. Time is your enemy. Why? Because the car's getting older.
Yeah, but as far as no miles are being put on, though, really,
it's still depreciating.
Still? Okay. Now I got another question. I've also been approached by a company that would... Here
we come. Let me fill in the blanks.
Okay.
They're going to find a buyer for you instantly. One who's willing to take over your payments for you.
Boy, this is your lucky day.
Lucky. I don't have to be very skillful to figure this one out.
What's the...
And they'll pay premium prices on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You go for that, you're ready for a rubber room and a jacket that ties in the back.
Oh, I'm already been told I need that several times.
Well, but not in this case you don't, because the only kind of people they attract are the least desirable buyers, people that can't get credit anyplace else.
Right.
They're desperate. And those are the most likely to walk away when they've bitten off more than they can masticate. Take the least care of your car. It is illegal with regard as far as your finance company is concerned. All the way around, absolutely, positively no.
Okay.
Good luck, kid.
Thanks, Bruce.
It's been a pleasure. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more Talknet. Greenwood, South Carolina. You're my guest on Talknet.
Welcome to my world, Bruce.
Well, thank you, sweetheart. What's doing?
We have a request for some books, Bibles, to be sent to the Isabella in the Philippines.
All right.
And I don't think we can find the Bibles. Can we send them a personal check, or will we have to wire some money to them if we want to help them?
Well, there's a lot of you can send a personal check. That's going to take a little more time.
Well, I didn't know whether they could get a case.
Well, sure they can.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Okay, I mean, there are many branches of American banks in the Philippines. What is that noise?
That's my doorbell.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Evan's quiet. I'm on the phone.
That's right, Evan. Get away from that door.
Okay, I told him.
I'm a little curious. You said they want Bibles.
Yeah, it's a church over there. We're affiliated with the St. John. I talked to you once before about.
Well, why don't you just buy the Bibles here and send the Bibles to them?
They asking for Ilocano Bibles or Ilocano songbooks, and I don't know.
You mean the language? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I can't help you with.
But I don't know either.
But wait a minute. Just take a deep breath. What you could do in your church, someone must know who publishes these things. Now, if they're published in the Philippines, clearly it'd be easier to buy them there.
Yeah.
But do the homework first.
Okay.
Good luck, honey.
Okay, thank you, Bruce.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Fort Lauderdale, hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
In the South Florida area, they're advertising them quite a bit.
Advertising cellulars.
Cellular.
Well, sure. The prices come down geometrically.
Well, this is the thing that I wanted to speak to you about. I'm just an hourly working guy, but my wife has to travel occasionally to the South Dade area, and on the interstate it gets a little bit scary sometimes.
You want to be a way to be in touch with the world.
Right. Well, that's the idea of it. Well, there is only two companies, per se, as have the phone service.
Well, that's in many areas there's only one.
Right.
If
but
you have
in this case, there is two, and they're competitive, and it seem like they have hundreds and hundreds of agents.
Yeah.
And if you pick up the Sunday and Thursday supplement...
When you say agents, these are the guys who sell the hardware.
Right.
And they also have an affiliation with one or the other of the service companies. But the hardware is the least of the cost.
Well, I found that out.
No, I mean, it's the airtime it's cost.
Well, not even the air. I guess my wrong approach about it is trying to be honest and straightforward about it when I contact an agent. And finally, I went right to the main company and find out if I wasn't getting the runaround on the cost factor. They advertise at a low price, and I'm straightforward with them that I want it for emergency purposes only, so they know right away I'm not going to fall into a class of being a high-time caller, which I'm sure that's mainly where the profit's at for these companies.
Not necessarily. They'd like to have a whole ton of people that pay the $30 or $35 a month and not use it at all.
Well, the point I'm trying to bring across is it seems like it's borderline deceptive that when you see an ad of a basic phone for, say, $199 or $200, time you get into this thing with great seriousness to have it installed in your car, you end up like $1,000.
Well, a little less than that. You get it in for about $600-700 today.
In that neighborhood, it seems like the problem I always run into is this on this discount phone that they run into a large deposit. It seems like this, the old saying, the funeral should have the same service with the cheap casket, but it don't seem like it does.
Well, you understand the reason for that?
No, I really don't.
Well,
That's why I called.
because the guys who go out and buy the real cheap phones frequently are just the ones who are least able to pay the bill, and they go crazy for the first couple of months till they get the bill.
Yeah.
Call everybody in sight and find out it costs 70 cents a minute for the airtime.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that is the case.
That's a problem. That's a real problem.
I'm sure that is. But
one of the things that cellular should do for you, I'm not saying does, because in my case I don't think it has, but it should make you aware of what it's costing, so you get the conversation over in 2 or 3 minutes instead of spending 20 minutes.
Well, that's very true, and most of them do have timers, and people should be aware of that. 30 some odd cents a minute, but
30. I'm paying 70.
Oh, is that right?
You bet. In the daytime, it's 70
Yeah,
cents.
I guess in peak hours there is a difference. But in my case, I just wanted something as a security type thing, blanket for my wife or I if we are out and have a problem. And like I say, we aren't the high volume callers. We were just going to use it for security. And it seems like when I get into this modest priced phone, it always ends up almost out of reality.
The antennas are extra, and the installation is extra, and you got to be in the service, and there's a $30 or $35 a month basic charge, whether you use it or not. Mobile calling is clearly not an inexpensive activity.
Well,
but it's a lot less expensive now than it was 2 years ago.
Oh, I know that. That's why, originally the $200 phones were $1,400, But the bottom line is to have it hooked up into your car when you see this in the Sunday supplement or in the ads in the paper.
Well, have you explored something else, by the way? The totally portable phones?
Yes, but it gets back to the same thing, that the deposits
for the time you're talking about.
Is that right? Do they have a refundable deposit like the standard utility companies do?
I can't answer that because you're talking about a million different cellular companies.
Is that right?
The problem is, and I must turn you loose, is that many people go crazy at first. They call everybody, "Hey, I'm calling from my car," and all of a sudden they get belted with a $2,000 phone bill. And they can't digest it.
Well, it looks like when it comes to a certain point, if you have a deposit and you run past that, I know the telephone company has that. If you have up $100,
yeah. But what I'm trying to get to, don't you understand, is that this is a chicken and egg thing. The reason they started these deposits, they didn't have originally, but they found out that so many people went nuts and then couldn't pay the bill. They came back with this as a defense mechanism.
I see. Well, see, that's something I really didn't understand. That it just seemed like that you see the phone per se as
I understand
$199, and when you end up, you got $1,000 nearly.
I got you covered. It is still not a poor man's. For me, it's a very useful tool.
Yes.
But for what you're talking about, very frankly, a CB would just would do the job.
That's probably what I'm going to end up doing. But you look at the cost factor and say, well, golly, I can buy a good cellular phone, which I can go direct to the tow company without having to go around the horn calling some
breaker.
Yeah, right.
I wish you well, kid.
Well, looking forward to seeing you in Fort Lauderdale.
All righty, we'll do it one of these days. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet. Springfield, Missouri. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
I was interested in the correspondence schools, and I saw this in a magazine, and I was just kind of wondering how you felt about them. I just kind of value your opinion.
That's like asking me what I think about food or automobiles or sex.
Right.
There's some good ones and there's some bad ones. There's good and there's bad. And there's okay, there's average, and there's outstanding.
Okay, now this is, they offer different courses, but, like I said, I saw something that I was interested in, and I just kind of...
How much money is involved?
It's about $500. Mm-hmm.
Everything's discounted. We know that. Nobody pays full price. Here's the problem. That it's hard for me to believe that if you apply yourself, that you can't get at least what you paid in terms of value. But it's rather like exercise equipment, health clubs and whatever. They're easy to join, but paying the bill is the easy part. It requires effort on your part. Now the question is, are you prepared to put that effort forward?
Yeah.
You see where I'm kind of come from?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
How many ads do you see for health clubs on the tube and the papers and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Now, those health clubs could never, ever accommodate the number of people they sign up. Do you know that? Mm-hmm. But they gamble on the fact that you'll come for 2 weeks and then come for every day for 2 weeks, every other day for the next week, once a week for the next week, and then you'll forget their address. Because it requires effort. Well, the same thing is true here. They will provide a good deal of material for you, material I'm confident you can benefit from. But there's nobody there to stand over your shoulder and tell you to do the work, is there?
No.
You have to. It's strictly you have to motivate yourself. Given that condition and taking into account, you see, it's even when you're going to school someplace where you got to report in. Well, that in itself is kind of a motivator, isn't it? You don't have that motivation here.
Well, I think on the motivation, if you make yourself do it, that's
absolutely. That's what discipline is all about. Yeah. If you make yourself do it, if you're able to do that, I have no problem then.
Do you think that the vocational schools are basically about the same, though?
I don't know that because you're asking me to see where there are some great vocational schools and they're not so great. Can you name anything that's consistent?
No, not really.
Really? I mean, there's some great clergymen, and then we got some others that are sitting on television, right? Mm-hmm. That isn't a put down of religion in any way, is it?
No.
So that there are good schools, bad schools, good almost everything and bad almost everything. That's what I'm trying to get to. But the main emphasis here, making the assumption that it's a decent course, and let's make that assumption, is that you have to provide the discipline to do the job. If you can do that, God bless. Go for it.
Okay.
I do wish you will, dear.
Okay, thank you.
Discipline. It's hard. Hey, Cher says it in her commercial. God, it's hell of a note to start quoting Cher as the great oracle. But here she is on an exercise machine. And let's face it, boy, for her, she looks good. Got a good body, right? And she talks about if it came in a bottle, everybody'd have a good body. It's true. Requires effort. Most of us don't want to put the effort forward. We want it the easy way. Silver Springs, Maryland. Hello.
I own a small business here, pizza and sub business. Here in Maryland.
How's business?
It's picking up right now. This is the time of year that it begins to unwind and pick up a little bit.
I'm delighted for you. So what's on your mind?
Well, I had this call from this guy, and it just sounded too good to believe. So
I don't know if that's a company name, so I would prefer you just. He's in the energy business.
In the energy business.
All right, fine.
And he told me, he says, he says, first of all, he said, how long have you been in business? I said, for 5 years. He says, well, how would you like to get all of your sales tax back that you've paid, to your electric company and to the gas company? I said, that would be great. So he came on out and he went through the Maryland law and showed me the books, and he told me, he says I can get.
If you're able to plot it out so you bring it back empty, you make money on the deal.
Yeah, if you bring it back and exactly empty, then
that's pretty hard to do.
Then you come out even, as far as I'm concerned. But
no, that's not true because you're buying the gas at a discount.
Well, it wasn't actually. I checked the signs around the city that I was in, and it really was not 20%.
All right. So either way, it's a tempest in a teapot.
Well, the only reason I'm bringing it up is because I hadn't come across it before.
I have never
I didn't have time to think it out, and I just thought I would alert other people so they could prepare ahead of time.
And there are other things that some of these guys have come up with recently, too. The cars.
That's another issue.
One of the things is they come up with the car is running when you leave it here. As long as you can drive it in, if there are fumes, it's okay with us.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's not a bad deal either. In other words, the tank is quarter full, eighth full, half full, doesn't matter. Whenever the last guy brings it in.
Whenever's in it when you. Oh, I see. Yeah.
And you just got to bring it back so it drives into the lot. That's all.
Uh-huh.
And I think
anything less than what you picked it up?
No, it doesn't matter.
I mean, it would be to your benefit.
Yes, and if there was more, it'd be their benefit.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that idea either. The problem with having
in the meantime, a second thing came up. If I could run that by you as well.
You may indeed, you rascal.
Okay. You can car rental considers a week as 5 days.
No, to get the car, the break point is usually the fifth day.
Right.
If you got to, in order to get the weekly rate, you got to keep it for at least 5 days.
At least 5 days.
Right.
Yeah, you said it better than I did.
No.
Okay. If you rent the car for 1 week, 4 days, and 23 hours, the computer kicks it out on the daily rate.
That's right.
Could be more
than the weekly
rate.
So what you got to do is you got to go to the counter and negotiate that.
Okay.
But it's the same as, do you remember the commercials? Let me take a time out here, and we'll get back together, okay?
Okay.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. We'll talk more about rental cars in a minute. This is Talknet. We're talking to a lady in Honolulu, Hawaii, about rental cars and the care and feeding thereof. Do you remember the commercials here a while ago? They'd show the guy or gal checking the car in out in the parking lot, and the smiling attendant has a handheld computer, right?
Yes.
Checks you right in.
That happened.
Well, I got checked into a Chicago's O'Hare, right? There was nobody smiling in fact, there was nobody in the parking lot smiling or otherwise. So the time I get I got to go to the counter, and the time I get checked in, we are now over the prescribed grace period of 1 hour.
Well, you should have walked faster.
I couldn't walk over the people in line in front of me and the stupid clerk that was taking 2 hours with each patron, you see.
I understand.
And I had to pay an extra $11 or $12 for the hour it was over. I mean, I was about as happy as a bear with a very sore head and no aspirin. Mm-hmm. I wrote to the company. They said, look, take your business elsewhere. We give you the extra hour, and that's the way life is. They didn't care.
So
like the hell with you was their attitude. And I have not rented a car from that company to this day.
So in the case of coming in short of the 5 days, how would you?
I would have walked up to the counter, got hold of the manager, and said, let's negotiate this. And 99 times out of 100, the manager would say, okay, we'll give you the weekly rate. We'll override the computer. We'll do it by hand.
Well, luckily for me, I was alerted ahead of time about it, but I was not aware that was the situation.
Oh, you ever go shopping in the supermarket?
Unfortunately, too frequently.
Okay. Well, you can never assume that the larger size will be the least expensive per ounce.
That's right.
Because they'll sock it to you. That's why you got to take a look at the per ounce cost. Now, in most jurisdictions, they got to tell you now on the shelf. I remember doing the computation beforehand. It was a lot cheaper to buy 4 small cans than 1 large can. I don't understand the rationale behind that, but you can never make the assumption that you're getting the best deal. You got to do the arithmetic. I guess that's what it comes down to.
Okay. Well, I just thought I would bounce that off of you and alert some of your listeners to the...
Well, the first thing I never heard of before, but the second is quite common. I wish you well in paradise.
Thank you very much.
Take good care.
Bye, Bruce.
I'm Bruce Williams. Yeah, that's a nice place to visit, Honolulu. Put it on your hit list. This is Talknet. Neenah, Wisconsin. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
My brother and I are seriously considering a quick oil change, 10-minute oil change franchise.
Uh-huh.
And would like from you possibly what you see as some of the shortcomings or problems.
Well, I mean, there are a whole ton of these companies out there doing it these days.
Mm-hmm.
Very candidly, I patronize one of them because it's just a lot easier, usually, to go there, get the job done, and get in and get out, rather than having to go to my regular mechanic and make an appointment, which is a bigger pain in the neck.
And leave your car there half a day or all day.
Indeed. This way, I just drive in. The 10-minute thing is a myth to begin with. At least in my part of the country, it is. I don't care when you go, day or night, rain or shine, you got to stand in line, and they don't get it done in 10 minutes. But on balance, I have no problem with that. I think probably one of the biggest problems that at least that the guys have had, the ones that I patronized, is labor. I mean, the one that I go to will accommodate 4 cars. You know, the bays, they have the underground deal where they work from downstairs, separate floor. Right?
Right.
And then they can take 2 cars on each side, but almost never is there 2 cars on each side. How come? Well, we don't have the help. They have a tough time getting help. One of the newspapers in our area did an investigative series on one of the chains, and one of their reporters got a job, and all he did was said, here, they gave them virtually no training and whatever. I think this is when you deal at that level of skill level of employee, that can always be a problem. But I do think, and of course, you have to have the ability to get rid of the old oil and so forth.
Well,
burn it as waste oil, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess there are people around here at least who buy it and haul it.
Yeah, or you can. If I were in that business, I think what I would investigate at the very least is having my heating unit in my building.
Well, I've heard good and bad about that system.
Well, there's no question it can be burned.
Yeah, but I guess the only way the system works efficiently is full blast all the time. So that
well, that I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I would investigate using it as a basic fuel for my own building.
Oh, really what I was asking for is shortcomings in the franchise experience.
As contrasted with doing it yourself?
Yes.
Without under your own label?
Right.
I think essentially that depends on the size of your area. If you're in a big city, clearly the high visibility of a label has a lot to recommend it. If you're in a small area where the only way you're going to do business is to attract the same people time and time again, I'm not sure that the label is anywhere near as important to you. And I'm sure you can see the reason why.
Sure.
Because you'll get to know your people in a small area.
Right.
In a very big... the one that I go to, again, is kind of interesting. They take your name and address and all that kind of stuff, right? I'm still waiting for my first piece of communication. And I've certainly been there 30 times, maybe.
Oh. Well, the one that I'm looking at, the bill that's presented, you have to fill in your name, address, and phone number. And actually, what you're doing is addressing your... card that comes back to you. And
well, they take it all from me. I've never received, maybe it's just this one office. I have never ever been communicated to them. I think that the idea is certainly a viable one. Whether or not you want to do it yourself and just clone what they're doing is a whole other matter. I don't know if they do better by you in terms of purchasing oil and whatever, and the greases and the lubricants because of their volume ability to purchase. Those are things you ought to take a look at.
Right.
I don't know what the insurance situation is. Clearly, it's going to be costly because you could go out. The kid puts the plug in wrong or forgets to put the oil in or overfills. There's a lot of liability there.
Right.
And that's going to be costly.
Right.
They may be able to provide it at a lower price. Those are some of the things I'd be looking at.
Okay.
I do wish you well, kid.
Thank you.
Rochester, New York. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
My wife's got a slight problem I'd like to discuss with you.
Well, a divorce will settle that, wouldn't it?
She has a design that she copyrighted and uses on a business card.
What, design or a logo or what?
It's a logo for a business. It's a line drawing. She copyrighted about 6 months ago. She noticed somebody else was using it in an ad.
All right.
She wrote to this person and said, "That's my copyright design. I'd appreciate your not using it."
Yeah.
No response. Saw it again about 2 months after that. This was December. Matter of fact, she wrote the publication and they stopped running the ad.
All right.
About 2 months later, saw it in another publication, same person. This time she wrote to him, certified mail, or return receipt, whatever. Sent a copy of the copyright papers to show that she owned it, or had copyrighted it, and said that she's decided she will sell them the use of that for the calendar year 1990 for $100.
Cheap enough.
And that their use of it in the calendar year indicates their acceptance of these terms. Well, of course, they're using it still. Again, no response other than the card back from the post office that they received it. What I would like her to do now, or my suggestion is she bill him for the $100.
I wouldn't do that.
What should she do?
Okay, I interrupted you. Go ahead. You'd give her you bill her, and then what?
Bill him, and he's going to ignore that too, I'm sure. Can we then go to a collection agency and say...
I wouldn't do that either. You're peddling around for pennies. First thing I'd do is I would send him a letter rescinding my offer.
Okay.
Next, I would give it to my attorney. Now, how have you been damaged by her using, or this person or this organization using your stuff? Because that's the key to this thing. How have you been damaged?
Well, she hasn't really been damaged other than it's her design and she would like to be able to sell it and use it. If somebody is using it for free...
Well, then that's how you've been damaged then. You've been deprived of the use of your product and deprived of the ability to market it because somebody else has stolen it.
Right.
That's your damage. I'd talk to my attorney about that.
Well, the problem is it's not worth in terms of money.
Not for $100, it's not.
Yeah.
But you're the one who set the $100 number on. That's why I'm distressed by that, and that may have damaged you. But I would rescind that immediately. Rescind the offer.
Why not just go through and try and collect that?
For a lousy $100?
Sure, she'd be happy to get that. She'd be more happy to harass him than anything.
Well, but the point is, for $100, he'll ignore you.
Well,
for $100, you ignore the collection agency.
Well, fine.
Well, then fine.
They'll call him up.
Well, they're only not very often, not for $100.
Oh yeah, okay. Just trying to harass him.
You're not going to harass him very much that way.
Oh yeah.
If it were me, I would rescind it, turn it over to my attorney, and look for damages. If you start a suit, you can't ignore that.
Okay.
I do wish you well. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello.
I have one I've never heard you deal with.
By golly, I'm waiting to hear the first one. Go ahead.
The problem is with my employer, my bank, and the post office.
That's quite a combination.
You better believe it. I drive a truck cross country. And because of the fact that I'm only home on the average of every 90 days, I have my checks direct deposited to my bank.
That sounds reasonable.
For the last 3 months, my checks have not been showing up in my account.
How come?
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out. The bank says it's my employer's problem. My employer says it's the bank's problem, and now they're both blaming it on the post office. The checks eventually do show up, but some of them have been as late as 16 to 18 days after my pay period.
How far apart is your bank and the employer's bank?
2.5 miles.
Why don't you change banks?
That's what I'm considering.
And use your employer's bank.
Okay, this is the problem.
It's got to go nowhere.
Okay. What has happened, I live in Montana, and we have one of the most stringent bad check laws in the country.
Yeah.
Okay?
Good for Montana.
When I call my employer and find out on my payday what my checks are, I wait until the following Tuesday. I have all of my bills, like my...
Whoa. I understand all this, but why? That's extraneous. If you have a direct deposit in the same institution, it's going to happen instantaneously.
Okay.
No post office, no mail, no going anyplace, no checks even drawn.
Okay, I understand that. But here's what the problem is at this time.
Yeah.
I've been writing checks 4 days to 5 days after.
And the checks have been bouncing.
Right,
but that's all history. You're going to have to solve that problem independent of the first problem.
Okay.
And if we just solve the first problem by using the same bank as your employer uses.
Right.
Now, the second thing, you're going to have to work out with the various people at the checks. You first of all have to get a letter from both banks saying what's happened here.
Okay.
That the checks were sent in a timely fashion to Bank A. They were not received for whatever reason in Bank B. As a consequence, the checks were either drawn against uncollected funds, which means a check got there but they hadn't credited yet, or insufficient funds because the checks were not credited because they hadn't arrived.
Okay.
But that should not be hard to solve.
Okay.
But then just change banks and you got it beat.
I think that's all I'm going to... That'll solve the whole thing.
I know it'll solve it because as long as your employer is paying you on time.
Okay.
It's just a matter of...
This is the thing I can't prove or disprove. That's where my trouble is.
Well, but this will take that sting out of it because this way it's just a matter of entries in the same institution. There's no excuses then.
So go to my employer's bank and open an account there?
Open an account and explain exactly why you're doing it and for whatever reason. That shouldn't be any problem.
Okay.
Take good care.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm Bruce Williams. Hope we keep you company on the road. This is Talknet. We go to Moline, Illinois, the Quad Cities. Hello there.
Hi.
Hi.
I've been in business for 5 years.
What kind of business are you in?
Videotape. Video production.
Okay. Go ahead.
I have a partner that financed the entire operation. He invested in that 5-year period approximately $100,000.
All right.
I did not invest any money, but I did all of the work.
For the 5 years?
Yes.
Have you taken a salary during that period of time?
Yes.
How much?
$300 a week.
$15,000 a year.
Right.
75 grand. Not a princely sum.
Okay. Now, we have a 50-50 partnership. Our tax form at the end of the year reflects that every year.
Another question I should have asked.
Yes.
Has he been taking any money out?
No.
Okay, he's still got 100 grand hooked in there.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. He got into some trouble with the law. Apparently, he has embezzled a lot of money.
Oh, how nice.
And now he owns a lot of other businesses. But the other businesses he owned 100% of.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only one that was a partner.
All right.
Now, a receiver has been assigned to liquidate all of his assets.
Oh, he's in bankruptcy then.
No. Apparently he embezzled several $1 million, and they're trying to liquidate all of his assets to satisfy most of that.
Well, then his assets apparently do not exceed his liabilities.
That's correct.
When you said there's been a receiver appointed, generally that's that a receiver is a function of the bankruptcy court.
Okay.
I think they call them administrators now.
Okay. Now,
maybe not.
Okay. In any event, they have to liquidate all of his assets. Now, with the other companies, it's quite easy.
Yeah, it's a cinch. He owns them all, but what do you do with your operation? Because you got half.
Right. Now, as far as actual assets, there really aren't that many. We have about $80,000 in leases. Now, the question is...
in leases, you mean leasing your equipment?
Yes.
Potential leases.
We have been leasing equipment for the 5 years.
Yeah, and there's I don't understand the $80,000 worth of value. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
The question I have is, if I continue to pay the leases on my own, because that is my only business.
Well, maybe I'm lost. Excuse me.
Okay.
When you say leases, what do you mean?
We lease video equipment, cameras.
To someone else, to other people.
No, we're using.
You are the leasee or the leaseor?
I'm the
leasee.
I'm leasing the equipment.
Then you are the leasee. Okay. So there's obligations, is what you're saying.
Agreed.
Okay, and you're saying what happens if you meet these obligations and
can they liquidate this equipment?
The equipment doesn't belong to him or to you.
Well, it's because he actually was the leasing.
Oh, you're leasing it from. I see. Yes, by all means, it's his asset. They can liquidate those, of course, because he's holding those separately in a separate name. Is that not correct?
Yes.
Then
he owned one of the companies he owned was a leasing company.
I see. Then that equipment very clearly can be attached and sold.
Okay.
What you want to do, I trust you've talked to your attorney, have you not?
Yes. But this was a new twist.
Yeah, I understand that, but there are other things that you should be covering yourself with, and you realize that.
Yes.
Okay, kid.
Okay.
Take good care, but there's just another good argument for corporations as contrasted with partnerships. Kalalui, Hawaii. Hello there.
4 months. I worked for 4 months in my husband's office in his place. He was ill.
Mm-hmm.
Off work for 4 months.
Is this a business that he owns, or you just...
No, he is the representative on Maui.
He's an employee.
So then so I took over his place while he was out for this 4 months. He was also on workman's comp, which of course goes through the office.
Yeah.
And as I was working, the salary checks kept coming in, and the commission checks kept coming in, of course, in his name.
That was to whom? They were payable to him, huh?
Yes, right.
Go ahead.
But, of course, I was here doing the work, and I assumed that was because I was doing the work, although I wasn't hired as per se.
Did everyone know this?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's a small company, and now when my husband went back to work, they told him that we had to repay all the monies paid because he could not receive workman's comp and a salary. And he says, well, I didn't receive the salary. I turned that over to my wife. Then they decided out of the goodness of their heart, quote unquote, that they would pay me for 3 hours a day. Running to, let's say, $2,500, and we had to pay back $2,500, which we never got because they deducted it anyway. But I talked to my attorney, and he figured, oh, well, maybe it's just best you go to small claims court. But I'm so annoyed to think that I worked for 4 months, and then they tell me I was doing it for love, and well, you're kind of knowledgeable about all this shenanigans.
Well, you see, we're into some very practical considerations here, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
The question is, suppose you make a big stink here, right?
Right.
You're liable to...
Well, about his being fired, that isn't in consideration.
Why is that not a consideration?
Because it really isn't.
Well, can you tell me why?
We don't have to worry about that part of it.
Well, there must be a reason for that. And if there is, it may be very germane to what we're talking about. How come? Is he still working for them?
Oh, yes,
Well, then why is that not a factor, a retaliation factor?
Well, because there's always other jobs.
Well, in other words, then they could fire him then.
Oh, very possibly. Out of anger, I suppose.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get to. But you don't care if he fires you.
No, my husband, that is not in contention. We don't worry about that part.
Well, that's a different way of putting it, you see. I thought maybe you had something on them where they couldn't retaliate. You're saying let them no, but the question is it worth having that retaliation for, I think the difference of opinion here is over $2,500, is that correct?
Yeah, approximately, yes.
Is it worth that? What does your husband earn a year?
Not very much.
About?
Well, let's say $20,000.
All right. Is it worth to you jeopardizing the position and making a change for $2,500? If the answer is yes, then I'd go after them, since they clearly understood that you were doing the work.
Yes.
And that you could plead very easily that, look, I thought that was the customary way of doing things, that I wasn't trying to circumvent the law in any way.
That's true. That's true. Of course, their contention is, we did not hire you.
But
although they allowed me.
Well, exactly. But you could go back and say, well, how did you think the work was getting done? By some kind of an osmosis? I think the chances are, if you were to go to court, you'd probably win this one.
Well, that's my thought too.
But you realize that the likelihood is that the company will find a reason to get rid of your husband just out of pure spite and malice.
Well, see, we've discussed that, and so we feel that is not a problem.
Okay, if it's not a problem, go for it.
Good enough. Well, I really wanted to hear what you had to say.
That's what I got to say. I wish you well, love. Hey, here's Sheila. You've done yourself proud. Sheila is running back and forth, schizophrenic, doing the board, the telephones, the windows, and now going to get me a glass of water so I can take an aspirin. This kid is busy, but think about this juxtaposition. We go from the 50th state to the 49th state, from Hawaii to North Pole, Alaska. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
It was good talking to you.
Well, I'm so pleased that you called. I've had some very, very pleasant visits in your part of the world.
Now, I heard that you're coming back to Fairbanks.
Well, that's very possible in the next 6 months or so. What's on your mind?
Well, the wife and I have decided that we're going to leave this beautiful state.
Oh, yeah. Where are you off to?
Well, we don't know. We've narrowed it down to either Idaho, Montana, or Oregon. But now my question to you is, where would I find out how these states compare, like as far as their property tax, their state tax?
Well, that's easy. That's easy stuff. You can write to each state, and the state will give the State Department of Development has all that stuff in a brochure.
The Department of Development.
Every state has a development done on that. They may not be called that, but I mean, a telephone call to the state capital will clear that up. Why are you leaving North Pole?
Oh, we're just, we've been here long enough now. We're going on 20 years.
How come you didn't choose something radically different then? I mean, you're sitting there, you're still going to go to the 2 places out of the 3 are cold.
Well, the wife likes 4 seasons.
What is this, the wife? Your wife?
Well,
that expression always grabs me. The wife. Does she call you the husband?
Yeah, well.
Does she really?
We just, we've decided that 6 months of ice and snow is enough, and we're going to go someplace where at least we get a spring and a summer.
Uh-huh. Well, there are certainly 3 places. I mean, I know more about Oregon than I do about Idaho. I've visited all 3 states, or Wyoming, but they're quite different. Idaho and Wyoming are closer in climate and topography, and as far as that's concerned, economy than Oregon. Oregon's quite different. Oregon's much more temperate. The economy in Oregon just now is much more lively. And, of course, it's coastal.
Mm-hmm. Right. So write to the state.
But you can write to the state. They can give you all that information.
Well, thank you very much.
Hey, I wish you well, my friend. In any one of those three places, hopefully we can keep you company. I'm Bruce Williams. We're giving you, we hope, is the very best of conversation radio. We call it Talknet. New Orleans, Louisiana. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. I have an investment piece of property I purchased about 10 years ago. It's a fourplex.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought it at that time. It always had a negative cash flow, but at the time I bought it, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Why did a negative cash flow ever seem like a good idea?
I don't know. My accountant told me it was good at the time.
Oh, yeah. Under the tax laws, there were some advantages until 1986, which disappeared in 86 under the revisions.
And then, 2 years ago, I put it on the market, and I haven't had too many nibbles on it.
Well, you were selling as a result of the tax.
No, it's because I moved from the area, and it's a little cumbersome taking care of it.
Well, I'll put it another way. Your timing couldn't have been worse.
And I was just trying to find out if there was some inventive ways of marketing.
Well, let's be realistic now. This is not exactly a very good deal right now. It's still negative. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, worse than that because I have a few vacancies.
Well, then you got a real turkey on your hands. You got an alligator, and that's going to be hard to sell. You see, there was a time until up and through the tax revisions when you could afford to have a certain amount of losses because you could write those losses off against other income. Can't do that anymore. Passive income versus earned income. I think the definitions suffer, but that's not here nor there. That's the way it is right now. All right.
Well, I have it on the market for $10,000 less than I paid for.
That doesn't. What you paid for it is totally immaterial. Let's talk about. I don't even want to know what you paid for it for the moment. All right. What is the current annual rent roll based upon the occupancy factor that you're dealing with now?
It's $1,400 a month.
All right, then the place is probably going to be priced somewhere around $130,000. How much are you asking for it?
I was asking $144.
Well, you're a little high. Not good because you'd be at $130. You'd probably break even.
$130, I'd be losing.
Well, but that's too bad. I'm in the same boat. Let me tell you, I'm not unsympathetic with that. But the fact is, that place, based upon your income, is not worth $144,000 of my money.
What do you use as a factor?
Well, you should be able to take in net 1% a month of the value. Okay. And you're just not doing that.
No, and
I got some problems. Let me tell you, I got a couple I'd be willing to trade you. that are doing worse.
Have you offered any incentives to any prospective buyers?
I'm going to sit and sweat it out. It's my contention, it may be not realistic, but I think it is, that real estate is cyclical, that it is soft right now. It will not be soft forever. And given the fact that there are other monies coming in, I'm not about to go out and take a huge smash.
Yeah, the forecast was there's a 2-year turnaround now.
Well, I don't want to get involved in prognostication because I don't know. But I'm just not bleeding enough to start waving the flag just yet. That's me. That's not you.
Yeah,
if you want to get out, probably looking at 120, 125, somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay, appreciate it, Ruth.
I wish you well, my friend.
Thank you.
But I'll tell you, it ain't easy to say, I'm losing money. We were just in a condition for so long. You bought it for this, the bigger fool theory, you sold it for that. I'm not going to tell you those days are gone because that would be not necessarily true. But they are certainly not within sight just now. I'm Bruce Williams. I'm so pleased you're here.
Why?
He's in his early 30s.
Why is he? Hold it. Slow down. Why has he had this history of unemployment?
I really don't. Well, a number of reasons. He went to Texas, and of course, the oil glut put him out of business. You know how that is.
Well, but you know, but you don't want to tell me, or you don't want to admit it to yourself.
Well, we have, I think, probably 19% unemployment where we live anyway.
Yeah, but why does he stay where you are?
That's a good question. He's an only child, and maybe that has some bearing on it. I'm not sure.
Spoiled, maybe?
Maybe. Well, I'll tell you what happened then. So he finally thought, okay, he'll take a dive, and he'll, apply for a student loan. And he thought, well, he'll take a truck driving course. Midway through the course, he did fine on the paperwork. But evidently he wasn't catching on to the 13 sets of gears and that double clutch as fast as they wanted him to. So midway through the course, they told him not to come back.
I mean, he flunked out.
Well, no, they told him not to come back.
Well, that's called flunking out.
Well, 3 times out, if you don't learn those gears, you're out.
And he flunked out of driving school.
Well, evidently that's what they call it. But anyway, so they returned part of the money to the bank, and of course they kept part, they kept half of it. Let's put it that way.
They kept whatever they felt was to cover the period that he was there.
So as a result now, he'll still be obligated to, he got a waiver on the, balance, but he still has to pay the bank off. And he still doesn't have his course under his belt. Now, we talked to a number of, qualified truck drivers, and they said, you cannot learn those gears. There's like an eighth of an inch in between gears. That you'll learn those that fast. You know anything about the 13 sets of gears and the double clutch?
I'm sorry, Joe, I don't understand you.
In other words, evidently they have like 13 sets of gears.
Yeah, I've driven a big truck. I know how to drive one.
All right, well, and there evidently is like an eighth of an inch in between the gears.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure an eighth of an inch, but it's close. So what?
Great, that's right. It's
but
very
there's
close.
a million guys that learn to drive them.
Well, anyway, they thought, he's high on the equipment. And I thought, well, that's what he's paying $5,000 for.
Well, but not the grind to... Well, I guess what they're saying, dear, is that in their opinion, he can't learn to shift and double clutch and drive a heavy rig, that's all. Not everybody can. Now, the alternative for them, they could have just kept him around and graduated him, and he never would have got a job and kept all the money. At least it seems they acted honorably.
You think they did all right then?
Yes, ma'am. They did what they had to do.
And we have no recourse.
Well, what recourse? I mean, if you flunk out of college, they don't give you your money back.
Well, that's true, but you're taking the course because you don't know how to drive.
Yes, I understand that, but hold on. Suppose he went to pilot school, okay?
Yeah, right.
Everybody does not make it through pilot school.
That's true.
Everybody doesn't make it through college. Everybody doesn't make it through plumber school.
That's true, but you wouldn't take dancing lessons if you already knew how to dance.
I understand that, but people do... The fact that you enter a school does not guarantee that you are going to learn.
Well, that's true, too.
All they can do is expose you to it. If you go to a language school, that doesn't mean you're going to come out speaking the language. It means they're going to try to teach you.
So, in other words, what you should just do is try to get something else instead and just pay this $2,000 off.
It seems to me that they acted honorably. He flunked out. Your kid didn't make it. And there's no disgrace against failing. I would look a little closer at this guy, though. With his history of 10 years of intermittent employment and whatever, I got a feeling you got more problems with this guy than you're prepared to admit.
Well, he was working for a contractor. He was in construction, but it's a house here and there. You know how that is.
Yeah, but you see, you keep making excuses for your son.
Well, that's true. I do.
And you're going to have to stop because you're not going to be here forever. Then who's going to look after him?
Yes, I realize that. Well, so in the meantime, the bank raised the rate from 10% to 12%. I didn't think that was legal.
That I don't know. I can't because I don't know what kind of an agreement there is. I have no input on that. But I wouldn't be mad at the school at this instance. But I would take a good hard look at your attitude toward your son, only because I know you do it out of love. But when you're not here, the rest of the world is not going to love him. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. We go now to Oakland, California. Hello there, how are you?
Well, hello, Bruce. Hi. I just moved into a condominium, first-time buyer, a couple months ago, about 6 weeks ago. And this condominium is very small. It's about 18 units. It only has an association president and a manager who's also in the association. And it has a couple open seats. Anyway, I've had a problem. My bedroom window is approximately 2 to 3 feet from an outside door, an entrance door.
How nice.
Used by everybody. The door does not work properly. It slams shut.
I mean, there's no check on it?
There is, but the mechanism is not working properly on it. I have spoken to both the manager and the association president. That's all there are in the association. And they are unwilling to fix it.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I know. Unreasonable. They're unwilling to fix it because...
Why?
They say that it can't be fixed.
Nonsense.
It is nonsense.
That's ridiculous.
My problem is I have sent them two letters, and I have spoken to them verbally, each of them. And I don't know what my recourse now is. Now, I've had some opinions that I can put the money in escrow in a savings account and tell them.
That becomes troublesome.
Right, because they can put a lien against me.
Yeah, well, but have you gone to a condo association meeting?
Believe it or not, they only have one meeting a year.
And that's in a full lunar eclipse or something, huh? Oh, boy.
November.
And have you talked directly to the condo, the president of your association?
Yes, I have.
And what does she or he say?
He is a pansy. He is like...
he speaks so well of you, too.
Pardon?
He speaks so well of you.
Hopefully he doesn't listen to this program.
What does he say? You say, look, you got a defective door down there. The thing is driving me out of my tree.
He said that he didn't know how bad it was until I took him down there by hand and had him listen to it. And he said, "Oh yeah, this is pretty bad. I'll speak to the manager."
Yeah.
Well, that's been a week and nothing has happened. I do want to say that I am the only tenant that has any problem with this because I'm the only one that has a bedroom near this. It does not bother anybody else.
I see. How old are you?
31.
Well, you're a strong young woman, right?
Okay.
Now, sometimes...
Oh, I know what you're going to say, and let me tell you this.
What am I going to say?
You're going to say I should go down there and fix it.
I didn't say that.
Okay. You said I was strong.
Oh, well, yeah, but I'm going to make you stronger than that. But go ahead. What were you going to... What?
They told me that if I fixed it and the door did not close, then I would be liable for if anybody walked into this building and there was a situation from the outside.
Is that right?
Yeah. So therefore, I figured they are the ones that should fix it, and I shouldn't assume their responsibility.
You see, I'm a much dirtier pool player than you are. What's your first name?
Andrea.
Andrea, I'm a much dirtier pool player than you are. See, if I were really as aggravated as you apparently are, the door would disappear. They might get a message when the door. You have a boyfriend or something?
Yeah, but I put a note on the door
with a pickup truck.
No, I was considering that I should go through small claims for it.
For what?
Well, to...
What are your damages? What are your damages?
You mean...
You have to, when you go to court, you got to show damages. Now, it could be that you've been deprived of your life and liberty. I don't know.
A nuisance? It's a nuisance to my ability to be able to
I do one of two
enjoy
things.
myself in my condominium.
I'd either fix it. I mean, how much? It's just a door check, right?
Yeah, it'd be so nominal.
Well, if that's the case, I just go buy a door check and put it on. And what door check? I don't know who put that thing on there. Gee, thanks for. You could even make it even funnier. Put a door check on there, right?
I was thinking taking it off.
Put a door check on there.
And
then send them a thank you note. That'd drive them crazy. I wonder who put the damn thing on.
All right. The only problem I have with that, you see, is that there's one on there right now. I don't know how to adjust them. I don't know. I could put one on, and possibly it would not work, and the door would still slam. I mean, I think that...
What's probably happened, my dear, is you got a defective door check, or it's not adjusted. A door check is not a complicated mechanism. All it is an exchange of hydraulic fluid under the pressure of the door. So when you open the door, you compress it, and when you take your hand off the knob, the pressure is released and it closes the door. Now, that's adjustable. It may just need adjustment, but in the absence of that, a new door check is no more than $50, $75. But I think it'd be a hell of a practical joke to have it replaced, and then send them a thank you note. Gee, thanks very much for taking care of my problem. It would drive them crazy. I wonder who did that.
Yeah, but that's money out of my pocket.
Well, it depends on how much kind of a sense of humor you have.
Not that much.
What can I tell you?
Remember, I'm a first-time buyer, and I'm also a school teacher, and you know we don't make too much money.
Oh, I know. You California school teachers make a ton.
Oakland.
Ton and a half.
Are you saying that because this happens at all hours of the day, including, midnight, that I couldn't go to small claims and say something about...
You can say what you want. But you see, you have to, I don't think that... And I'm not an attorney, you know that.
But you can always get attorneys to call.
Yeah, but oh boy, you are cheap, kid. What do you teach? Economics? You teach fourth grade.
I I teach science.
Science?
Uh-huh.
Well, and you're a science teacher and you can't fix a door check? No wonder we're in trouble in space, for pity's sake.
I just, the responsibility, of,
I think that's overdone.
Uh-huh.
I think that's overdone. I told you what I would, but the two or three choices. If you're really a stinker, you get your boyfriend in his pickup truck and the door disappears. You don't know anything.
Okay.
The other way, but the more realistically, you get a new door check or adjust the one that's on there. It's not a big deal. I don't understand why they're being so lousy about it.
Isn't it unreasonable?
I think they're being very unreasonable. I don't understand why.
I don't understand why. Well, because it doesn't affect them.
But that's not a good answer.
No, but either is theirs. You can't relate to something that is so unreasonable.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, Teach.
Thank you.
You got a couple of choices. I'd appreciate a call. Let me know how it comes out.
Okay.
Take care, sweetheart.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Onward and upward, Detroit, Michigan. Bill Lally is being schizophrenic today. He's running the board, answering the telephones, and I understand he does windows on the side.
Hi.
He streaks the windows, though, I got to tell you. Hello there.
Hi. I took our van to have some service done on it. And when I took it there, I asked them why it was there. Would they please do an oil change, filter, and lube? Mm-hmm. And when they got to doing the oil change, filter, and lube, they told me that...
You know who you sound like?
Who?
You sound like the kid on the commercial for the ice cream-filled brownies.
Oh, really?
Oh, I mean, you go nonstop, no commas, no periods, nothing. You just keep. He wasn't so cute
after
all.
So I didn't know if you had a time limit. I want to get my question in.
I said you go right through it. He wasn't so cute anywhere, and I gobbled up the brown anyway.
Well, you want me to talk slow or fast? Which do you want me to do?
I would suggest that you slow down just a tad. All right.
All right. I took our van in for
Time's
service.
up.
Okay, you heard that.
Time's up.
And then.
Oh, what can I tell? We are running out of time for this segment, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to take an incredible breath, okay? Suck it up, okay?
Yes.
Relax just for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with a lady in Detroit, Michigan, who is just a tad frustrated about her car. Now, slow down and let's talk, you and I. You went in, you had some work done, and you told them to do a lube and all that good stuff.
Right, and then after they looked at it, they said, well, we could do the lube, but the oil change, but we noticed that the last time you had this done, whoever did it for you stripped the, I guess now they make the pan so that there's a plug there.
I had the very same thing happen to me.
Oh, yeah? Well, I had this happen with another car one time, but it was an older car, and this is not that old. It has only had a couple oil change, and it shouldn't be wear and tear.
Would they strip the plug or the pan?
He said they stripped the threading. It was improperly put on. I don't know.
I understand. Sure. If it's the plug, it's no big deal because you get a new one for $1.50. If it's the threading in the pan, then you got big trouble then.
Must be a pan because he said whoever did this for you last time threaded it wrong, improperly. It was put on here wrong, and he says, and you need a new pan.
Right.
He says that pan would probably run $90 with the work. It'll run up to like $300. And now I'm wondering. Somebody else told me you can just cut out the plug and redo it.
I think it can probably be rethreaded. Yeah, most. I mean, again, I don't know, but ordinarily, when you have just threads are stripped, nothing worse than thread stripped.
Well, that's what he said.
All right. Well, if that's the case, then you can ordinarily retap it, it's called. And that would require a bastard plug. The plug that's, they've designed for that would no longer work because the hole is going to be bigger than it is now. But that itself should not be a problem. I can't imagine having to replace the...
But he claims that it needs a new pan, and he said that he feels that I should go back to the people who did it last time, and they should at least pay for it.
I don't disagree, but I don't... But what I'm suggesting is, and I'm no, ace mechanic here. I mean, I'm not Mr. Goodfellow or whatever, But I think that, boy, it's been a long time since I've changed oil. But it seems to me there's enough substance there where you should be able to have it retapped. That means they run what's a dye in there.
Right, I know what that means.
Okay,
yeah.
And then they would just fit a new plug in it. But I do think it should be the responsibility of the last guy. However, how do you prove that?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if I take it to that man. I don't want them to touch it again if they, in fact, did something wrong.
Well, no, wait a while. What do you do for a living?
I'm a homemaker now.
What? Well, now. Good. What did you do before your husband lassoed you?
I was a secretary.
All right. Did you ever make a mistake when you were a secretary? Did you ever get the wrong line and the wrong letter? Or did you ever make a spelling error or whatever?
Yeah, and I corrected it.
But did the boss can you and say, I'll never let you type a letter again because you made a mistake?
No.
Okay, well, the same thing is true here. Because somebody made a mistake, they cross-threaded a plug. That doesn't make them incompetent. They made a mistake.
But there's a big difference in dollar figure.
Doesn't matter. Does it matter if somebody is responsible for, let's pick, putting a chip into a machine, and it's a $5,000 chip, they made the similar error that you made when you misspelled a word or whatever. It's just you just putting zeros on it, that's all. We all make mistakes, don't we?
Right, but how can
even you?
Well, how can you prove that somebody else did the damage?
Well, that's a different problem. But you see, what I was picking up on, and I'm not trying to pick on you, but I was picking up on you was that, well, if they made a mistake, I would never let them work for me again or do any work for me again.
Well, I'm fearful that they would touch it again, that they would give me more of a problem.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to get to, my dear, is that there's no place you can take your van. There's not a physician you can take that child to, I hear in the background, that hasn't erred before. But that's the nature of us as humans. We make mistakes.
Okay.
So I'm not saying he's going to admit it. What I'm saying is that I was picking up on your statement because it's a common one. Well, I'll never let him do anything again for me.
Well, may I insert one other thing here?
Sure.
This new mechanic that I had gone to said they never even greased your ball joints, I guess they're called.
Mm-hmm.
He said they didn't even touch that. So, I'm hoping to trust this new person, but you don't know if this new one is just looking for
exactly so
because he wants to put a new pan.
That's right. Furthermore, the guy that you went to before may have had one incompetent worker among 50. Are you going to penalize it or 40? I go back to the guy and say, here's the situation, see what he has to say. See what he offers for a solution. That you guys worked on my car. Is it a gas station or a dealer?
It's one of these fast lube places.
Yeah.
The place that supposedly caused the problem. The second is now a mechanic place because I had something break on the car, so I had to go.
Sure. One of the problem with those fast lube, and I use them, frankly, but
they have youngsters working there.
That's part of the problem. They have a high turnover.
Yeah.
And I mentioned before that I had one of those things. They cross-fitted one of mine on my car, and I went to a different one in a different state. And the guy said, gee, you got a problem. And I said, well, let's take a look at the sticker on the car. And since usually they put a sticker on, so you can still prove that they did the job. They worked for you at some time in the past.
I saved my receipt, so I have that.
Okay, well, the guy at the new place said, okay, I'll take care of it, no cost. It was part of the same franchise, even though they were not connected to one another.
Right. Well,
I'd go back and talk to them and see what they have to say. Then you proceed from there.
Okay.
There's so many variables here. You see, I don't know if, for example, if there isn't some kind of an expandable plug you could put in there would solve the problem. I don't know that.
Well, I have an ill feeling about the place. I went to the fast place before because I in fact said to him, I said, what kind of oil did you put on? Well, whatever kind they required. I mean, he treated me like I was a stupid woman, that I shouldn't even be asking these kind of questions.
That's inexcusable.
So to me, I thought, I am not going back there because, number one, they treated me like a fool, and number two, now I find that there is, in fact, a problem that they did. So, thirdly, you don't feel real well going back.
I hear you. I don't, the telling thing you've just said, this business of, it's your perception, and your perception is what is. The fact that they made you feel like you're a lesser person because you have to be female,
Correct, yes.
And this is macho stuff, man. We got the oil and the grease here, That's a lot of crap. Pure and simple. It's garbage. I don't agree with that any more than I would like to be patronized as a male because we're going to talk about baby diapers or something. What would you know about that? That's inexcusable in either direction. But I still think you have to go back and talk to them.
Okay.
And if you don't have the confidence they can repair it, then you go elsewhere and you do what you got to do.
Let me ask you another question. If I do in fact have this repaired someplace else, and I first approached these people and mentioned to them that they did this problem, or I feel that they caused this problem, and this new mechanic claims that they did cause me trouble, and they refuse to do anything. What do I do? Do you have to go to claims court, or is that
problem? The problem is proof, and I don't know what that would be. We can demonstrate the damage took place. Proving they did it is another question. That's why the negotiation is very much to your advantage right now. I wish you well, dear.
Thank you.
It's been a joy. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. St. Petersburg, your turn. Hello.
Hello, Bruce. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
My problem concerns a magazine company. My wife prior to our getting married, sought to establish credit. And to do this, she signed a contract with a magazine company that said they would establish credit for her. The contract was at exorbitant rates, but that's not the problem. The problem is when she moved in with me, 2 months prior to this move, she contacted this company and told them that she would be moving to this address.
Oh.
Well, they neglected to send the magazines for that period of time.
How did she contact them?
Through the mail.
She did send one of those little cards in saying we moved and all that good stuff.
Well, she sent them a letter is what she did.
Okay.
She sent it to the company, not to the individual magazine.
Oh, well, you're supposed to send it to the publisher of each individual magazine.
I'm aware of that. She wasn't.
And throw in a label.
Right. Anyway, I wrote a letter to the company after the first month when she didn't receive any magazines, stating that we hadn't received any, and would they please clear the matter up?
All right, did you talk to your post office?
No, I did not.
Oh, that's next. And if you know you made that kind of mistake, right, then you go to your post office and say you'll pay the extra postage to have the magazines forwarded.
All right.
Because it's going to take at least 2 or 3 months to correct the problem.
Okay, well, I did write them 2 letters, and they never answered the letters, never indicated they received them. And out of nowhere, 2 months later, the magazine started showing up at our house.
They probably got the address correction through the post office.
Well, that's quite possible. But like
the magazines will get returned to them. Magazines are not ordinarily forwarded.
Right.
Unless you agree to pay the postage.
Right.
And when they come back,
as I stated, though, I did write the company.
Yeah, but you didn't write to the proper place. You wrote to the people who sold you the subscription.
And wouldn't they notify?
No, I doubt it very seriously. Should they notify it? I don't think there's any question about that. Would they? Probably not.
Okay.
See, you're supposed to know. I'm not going to ask you how. I guess the answer is how. If you read the magazine every line, none of us do, someplace in there it's going to tell you what to do if you're moving.
Right.
And you're supposed to notify each individual publisher.
All right.
Not the people that sell you the magazines. That's not their function. Their function is to sell them.
Well, I guess you answered my question then. They've been harassing her on the phone. I had written a couple of letters to them explaining the situation.
I think they ought to extend your subscription by a couple of whatever the issues you missed. Most companies will do that.
Well, let me ask you this, Bruce.
Boston, Mass. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Bruce, last year I bought a house, right? And in the contract we found out just at closing that about 3,000 square feet of the land is being leased by the next door neighbor. This originally was property owned by her whole family, and I guess they sold this lot of land to the fellow I bought it off of.
So they leased for what purpose?
They leased, because they needed it just for their land itself.
Well, no, I mean, is it?
It's like a lifelong lease for $1 a year.
Oh, lovely. A life lease?
Yeah, it's binding as long as they own the house or they're deceased.
And you didn't know this when you bought the place?
Not until right before closing.
Did you have an attorney?
Yes.
And your attorney didn't uncover this?
Yeah, he's the one who did, like I said, like a day before.
Well, you didn't have to go through with this with the closing if you'd elected not to.
Right.
Because that's a material fault, it would seem to me.
Right.
They never told you.
Never. The realtor and the fellow I bought it off of. What it is there's a fence at the property that runs behind my property, and the fence is about 30 years old.
Yeah.
And I guess I own 15 feet beyond that fence into this other person's property, and a stretch about 200 feet long.
But there are life rights on this.
Right.
But they are not binding on new owners.
No.
If they sell it, their rights are extinguished. I guess that's the way to put it.
Right. Now, what I'm asking you is this fellow for 15 years who owned the house I'm living in never collected that $1 a year.
The dollar is token.
Okay, because that's what my lawyer said. But I thought, geez, I don't want to have. And her daughter lives next door, and she has a son who lives right behind her. So I don't know. I just see 10 years down the road, if this woman passes on, that I don't know. I see trouble, but
what trouble?
Well, that they don't want to give it up because when I take that 15 feet and move the fence over, it's practically going to be leaning on their house. They're going to have 10 feet of clearance.
Why don't you make an offer to sell it to them?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You don't need the property.
Yeah.
Is that true?
No,
it wouldn't make your
It wouldn't make your property non-conforming, would it?
No.
You sure of that?
Right. I mean, unless I decide to put an addition on.
No. But what I want to know is it wouldn't make it non-conforming. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Then why did you say it wouldn't? What I'm getting at, you see, is zoning.
Oh, I see.
Requires so much frontage, so much side yards, and so forth.
Right, no, I
And you don't want it. Well, wait a minute. I don't know if you know. Do you know what your zone requires?
Pretty much.
No, you don't know pretty much. That's like being pregnant, man.
Yeah.
Either you is or you ain't.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't know, find out.
Okay.
Go get a copy of the zoning ordinance and find out what the rear, side, and front yard requirements are.
Okay.
And be certain before you make such an offer that by eliminating this piece of property, you would not be in non-conformance. The chances are the town wouldn't give you a subdivision if it would. But you want to know that in advance, all right?
I think they're going to have the problem on the other side.
No, they don't have a problem.
Yeah.
Because if they're non-conforming, they are non-conforming.
Oh, I see.
It's already done. You don't want to create a non-conforming lot.
Right.
And I think that's over your head, so have an attorney check that out for you.
Okay. Can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
On this same property, I went with one of those convertible mortgages.
I mean, adjustable.
Yeah, that's right. And
that is convertible.
After a year, you can convert.
Okay.
And it was discounted. It was 7.5.
All right.
Which I found, at the time, it was attractive to buy the property. So now we're paying 9.5. We're in our second year.
Yeah, so just adjusted 2 points, huh?
Right. And I don't know where the rates are low. I don't know when I should really lock in. I mean, now they're telling me if I wanted to lock in, it'd be like 10.25.
That's a little high.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. I mean, because I figure I still have a whole nother year at 9.5. Yeah.
Well, that's another use. I'm not going to predict, but as these words are being spoken, the trend is downward.
Yeah.
I wish you well, my friend.
Thanks a lot, Bruce.
Hang in there. Lincoln, Nebraska. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Just like you're in a room with me, kid.
Great. I wanted to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
I'm going down in September to Arizona.
Down from Nebraska to Arizona. Is that down or is that out?
Well, that's down. That's kind of southwest.
All right, go ahead.
And I'm looking at the possibility of moving there. Of setting up a home there and moving down there.
Uh-huh.
And now I don't have anything lined up, work-wise. I'm just going to be there for a week in September.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this. And I'm thinking, while I'm there, I'm going to look at houses, and I'm going to kind of look around at, at employment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is being too general? I should have a set, schedule or a set, just everything I'm going to be doing, from minute to minute. You know what I'm saying? I mean, do you think I'm being too general by just saying, I'm going to go down there and look around at houses?
I think that's a little dangerous.
It is.
You only have a week to do this in, right?
Yeah.
That's not enough time. To look for a job?
Well, no, I mean, I was going to be there for a vacation.
Yeah.
And I thought, while I'm there, I'm going to do some looking around while I'm there. I'm not.
Well, I do that everywhere I go.
Yeah.
By nature.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought I'd take one day and look at some housing, and I'd take maybe another day or two and just look around, at employment, just, in general.
Uh-huh.
And what I'm asking you is, do you think I'm being too general by not having a specific plan?
The only criticism, I think, if it's not a criticism, but maybe suggestion I'd make to you, is that you plan your time out to use it as effectively as you can in advance. Well, you should be trying to make some appointments in advance with the major concerns that you might have an interest in. Okay. You would have somebody to guide you around. You sort of spend one day just looking the land over, so to speak.
Yeah.
But aside from that, you'd be amazed what you can do in a week if you use your time well and still get a little time in the sun and play.
Really?
I've done it. I think you will, too. Good luck, kid.
Okay, you scared me. Can I say something?
Hold on just a minute. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet. I'm talking to a gentleman in Lincoln, Nebraska. We were just about to conclude our conversation. He said, you scared me. How did I scare you?
Well, you said that this is when I said that I was going down there, and you said you're going to be there a week. And you said this is dangerous, or this is a little dangerous.
Well, I think to try to draw a conclusion about an area that you're not familiar with in a week can be troublesome. You see, when you're on vacation, if I came to Lincoln and spent a vacation, all right, I would see Lincoln differently than the person who lives in Lincoln.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, but that's an easy throwaway. Oh, sure. But so many people. There's a very good commercial right now. It's carried on Talknet. It's for Kmart with Dusty Lens Cap. That crowd.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, the one I'm speaking of is where because everyone who's ever been on vacation who's past 35 has had this conversation, you see. It's between the two, husband and wife, and a guy says, this town just cries for a taco stand, and she says, I could paint taco boxes and whatever. And old Dusty said, but when it's over, and you got to go back to reality, right? Those people, but isn't that typical? People, they go off to West Overshirt and they're from the big city. Oh, wouldn't it be wonderful to spend 52 weeks? They probably go crazy. But the point being that they see West Overshirt in an entirely different light than the guy who lives there 52 weeks a year.
True.
I don't care where it is. It's perfectly natural. I mean, you're eating in the better restaurants, and you haven't got much responsibility, and we're not worried about school issues, and we're not worried about getting down to the supermarket and slugging it out. Or even if you are cooking your own meals, you're kind of careless about what things cost, because what difference does it make? I'm on vacation and whatever. All I'm suggesting is that I have been many places on vacation that I've had occasion to go back to do business. And I have seen it through an entirely different set of peepers the second time out of the blocks.
Well, do you think this is stupid, like a flash in the pan or something? This is just stupid? I'm like you, Bruce. I don't even like white sheets on the bed.
Well, why would that be stupid? Well, of course not. But I'm just suggesting to you, go take it, check it out for a week. Don't make any determinations. If it's worth pursuing further, then pursue it further.
Okay.
Now, there are exceptions to that. I've talked to people that went to Hawaii for a vacation and never even went back to get their stuff. They sent for it and are happy as a clam. Yeah. So, there are exceptions to every rule. But if it were me, I would go for the week. Hey, after a week, you're able to say, this isn't for me.
Right.
But on the other side of that, you're able to say, let me check out Southern California or Florida or a million other places.
That's true.
That's all.
Thanks, Bruce.
Good luck, Tiger.
Thank you.
I'm Bruce Williams. Agree or disagree, I'm delighted you dropped by. This is Talknet. Hightstown, New Jersey. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi, Mr. Williams.
Hello, baby.
It's wonderful to get on this radio and talk to you. I haven't spoken to you yet on the radio, and I've listened to you for a long time.
So it sounds to me like you're a transplant from New York.
I certainly am.
How did I guess that?
I certainly am.
What's on your mind, dear?
Well, first of all, I want to tell you that people who go back to college, I did in my early 40s. I started with my children, and I just graduated for a 2-year degree.
And you're how old?
53.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
What did you study?
Paralegal degree. But I'm having a problem getting a job right now.
Well, that's a problem always. And your age is going to not work in your favor
I
either.
don't look my age at all, and I work for the state. And I'm trying to stay within the state. So that would make a problem, too. My question is, I ordered some things through the mail, which I've done before. It was in these coupon inserts on Sunday's papers.
Yeah, boy, if they took those out, the paper weighed about 2 ounces.
You're right. But what it is, I ordered the materials and never got the materials. And now I see the people running another ad under a similar name with another address. And
what did you send away for?
2 jackets in one ad and some these crystals, because I wanted my mother to wear one to maybe make her help with health.
The reason I asked the question, because we've had a lot of complaints about this recently, and it sounds like the same company.
Well, these are 2 different companies, but I have the ads, the old one and the new one.
That's what I'm getting at. It sounds like we've had a number of complaints. People have ordered merchandise. We're talking about clothing.
Yes.
And the same story, that they're similar ads, but a different company name, and they don't respond, but they cash the check and so on and so forth.
But it's the identical item. What can we do about it?
I would go to the publisher of the newspaper. Say, look, I rely upon you to choose advertisers that are worthy of your newspaper because you have an excellent reputation. But nothing. I'm telling you,
fine.
If somebody called us and said, as has happened, because mistakes happen, and there's something on our network, and they sent the check in, and the check was cashed, no merchandise, I want to tell you something. Westwood One NBC wants to know about that.
But this was 2 different companies for 2 different things, and I still didn't get it from the other place either, and I wrote them letters, and they never answered my letters or anything.
We're back to the same thing. I would go to the publisher.
Okay, but these inserts, are they done by the newspapers or by...
Without regard to that, some are direct deals, some go through brokers. But the end result is you paid your 75 cents or $1 to the XYZ publishing company, and they have, in my opinion, a responsibility to you. And as a practical matter, I would hope that a responsible publisher would want to know that somebody is not honoring the guarantee.
Okay, then I will call the newspaper because I've ordered stuff through the mail before and I've had no problem until I did these two.
I hear you. I would call the newspaper, and furthermore, that newspaper very possibly has a column. You know, can we help you out? Type of column.
Action line. Something
All right,
like that.
something on that order. Sure. I would write to that. At least I would send the letter to the publisher's office with a copy to the advertising manager and a copy to that column.
Okay.
Good luck, honey.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're
And
very
nice talking to you.
Good luck with your new job.
Thank you very much. I didn't get one yet.
You're going to get one.
Thank you.
Cleveland, Ohio. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Yes, Mr. Williams?
Hi.
Hi. I'm currently unemployed, and I'm looking for a position as an executive secretary. And I know going to a place to apply, I'm trying to look closer to home. I used to work downtown in Cleveland, but I live in the suburbs.
Married lady?
No, I'm single.
Children?
No.
Why am I asking those questions?
I don't know.
Well, don't you really? Because I want to know how much responsibility you have to others. If you said, yeah, I'm married and I have 3 children, and my husband is an elected official here, that pretty well marries you to right where you are.
I see.
But given the fact that you are single and you don't have kids at home even to worry about as far as school is concerned, you have the ability to be more mobile than maybe one of your friends. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Okay. If you're looking for a job, mobility sometimes is a key to the thing.
Okay. But I know I've listened to your show, and I've heard other people call in. You've mentioned, like, going to apply in person is like a waste of time.
I didn't say that.
Well, it's like I think you mentioned about you shouldn't send a resume.
I have said that.
Okay. Now, I've gone to a few places, and you can't get past the receptionist. They give you an application form, which I have filled out, and you send it in, and then you don't hear from them.
Which generally means they aren't hiring anybody.
Right. So I'm wondering what you would suggest is the best way to go about.
Well, first of all, I don't know the employment market in your part of the world. You do. Tell me about it. Is it soft? Is it? For example, you mentioned you're executive secretary, okay?
Yes.
All right. If you were living where I live, if you were looking for a job, you'd have one by noon.
Where do you live?
In the New York metropolitan area.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a very definite labor shortage of that type of person. You pick up a newspaper, there'll be 4, 5, 6, 7 columns, sometimes a page of nothing but just under the S's for secretaries.
Well,
that's why I asked about. See, I get a little impatient with people that say, "Well, I can't find a job," and if they have a skill that is marketable elsewhere in the country, get on your pony and go there.
Right.
Or in my opinion.
Well, in a downtown area, it wouldn't be hard.
Well,
mostly legal, except I would like something closer to home.
Well, isn't that sweet? Gee, I'm sitting here trying to feel sorry for you, but I'm not getting very far. I'm getting nowhere, as a matter of fact. How far is down?
When I worked late, I did have some incidents that I wouldn't want to go. I was afraid to work late.
Well, and you cut a deal with your employer.
Oh, I tried, and they didn't like that.
Why?
Because at the last minute, they always wanted you to work late.
Well, I don't care about that. I have no problem with you working late. I'd work you late. But the deal with the employer would be, if I work late, then you will use a car service. He will come to the office and escort me to the car and take me home at your expense. And I'll tell you, if you're any good at what you do, we do that here.
Okay, I don't drive. I wouldn't drive downtown.
Oh, what did I just get through saying? You're not listening to me.
About
it's called a chauffeur.
Oh, okay.
In other words, we have. I know in Cleveland they have car services. It's intermediate between a limousine and a cab.
Okay.
Where you call up and they come to your office, they walk downstairs, they put you in the car, they drive you home, they do everything but tuck you in. Now, if your boss wants you to stay late in an area where a lady would be uncomfortable leaving, and that's indigenous to many downtown areas, and a boss knows that, he's not a fool. All he's going to do is spend an extra $10 or $15 that day, which is a legitimate business expense, to put your little bod into a safe car to drive you home.
Where I worked before, we used to work all night, so I'm not really afraid of that.
Well, what is it?
After a while, you get tired of this every night working late.
Well, that's life, kid. How old are you?
I'm 36.
That's life, baby.
I know.
I mean, I commute 100 miles a day through traffic that you can't imagine.
Oh, I can imagine in New York.
So it's hard for me to sympathize with somebody who doesn't want to commute a couple of minutes from Cleveland. But the point is that so far you haven't given me any real good reasons to feel sorry for you.
Well, I don't want your sympathy.
No, you know what I'm
believe
saying.
me. I just was wondering, though, okay.
Or, well, maybe I put that poorly, and I apologize. I don't see any reason for radical surgery here. It's not a question of you got to get up and move, because there's plenty of work. It just doesn't happen where you want it.
Right.
That's life.
But if now, I have my name registered with some of the agencies.
Okay. But nothing's happening.
No, not yet, because of my salary range.
What is your salary range?
Mid-20s.
I see you want the best of both worlds. You want the downtown pay in the suburbs.
No, I would be willing to take a pay cut.
How much of a cut? You realize what
to low 20s.
You know what you're competing with in the suburbs, don't you?
Well, we have for companies. We do have a lot of big companies.
Yeah, but you're competing with Millie Housewife.
True, and what I've seen.
And she's not able to go downtown because she can't work late because she's got the trolls at home.
Right, and I think what happens too, they promote from within, because a lot of the ads, if you do see any ads for the suburbs, it's entry level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
I was going to still give it a try and trying to get like a personnel manager's name, at least send him.
You can do that. But as an employer, I can tell you that you pay more for people to come downtown.
Right. Oh, that I understand.
And I did. That's why I got it downtown. And now I pay. I don't have to pay as much.
Right. Well, I would be willing to take the pay cut. Living, that doesn't have to be like 2 minutes away. Just in the area, like in the southwest area where I'm at, any suburb would do as long, I could drive.
Well, yeah, but you're not working right now.
No, I'm not.
If I were you, what's your first name?
Carol.
Carol, I'd get on a payroll downtown. You're a lot more employable when you're employed than when you're unemployed.
That I know.
Well, then why don't you remedy that?
Well, I'm trying. This is the first week I'm out of work.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll give you a 2 weeks vacation with that.
Thank you. I need it.
But beyond that, Carol, I'd get on a payroll.
Okay, now. Except now for like what you mentioned before about sending a resume. You would rather send...
I'd say a resume is Carol, you were a secretary.
Yes.
You must have had resumes come into your office.
Yes.
What'd you do with them?
They usually were, a form letter was usually sent out.
What did you do with the resumes, Carol?
They were kept in a file.
Yeah, what file? The circular one on the floor. Isn't that true?
They actually kept them in a drawer.
Okay, and how many people walk through a drawer regularly?
Yeah, they never go.
Carol, you've answered your own question.
Okay, but now with the letter, I understand that about not sending a resume.
Okay.
Okay, in the letter.
Right.
Do you, go into some of your skills and some
You've got 2 paragraphs at the most to capture the recipient's attention. Now, how much can we talk about your skills in that? Unless it's something outstanding. I mean, outstanding. If Carol, and I only got a couple of seconds.
Okay.
If you had to choose the one thing that you are the absolute best at, whether it's typing, whether it's being, you're not missing a day's work in the last 37 years or whatever, what would it be? I'll bet you, if you can answer that off the top of your head, I'm going to be surprised.
Oh, I could.
Good. Find out what that is. The most outstanding quality that you have.
Okay.
That ought to get in that first paragraph. Off and running to Cambridge, Mass. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi, Bruce. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, good. I am dealing with an administrative bureaucracy, and it's driving me crazy, and I don't know, I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall, and I feel really frustrated and taken advantage of, and I can't concentrate on my schoolwork, and I don't know whether I'm wasting my time and I should just give up.
Take a breath. Is that all one sentence?
Yes.
Where are you going to Harvard?
Okay, no. I go to the New England Conservatory of Music in Boston.
Okay.
And I just found out last year that this wonderful teacher has just been instated as an honorary faculty member, which means that you still have to be on his 3-year waiting list, and you still have to drive all the way out to Gloucester to study with him for half an hour a week, but you can get credit for it. So I got a phone call at the beginning of the summer, and I'd come up on his list. I've been waiting for 3 years. And
what in the world does he teach that's worth waiting for 3 years?
Oh, he's incredible. He's just unbelievable.
What does he teach?
Well, every kind of musician, but he's a pianist, but he teaches all instruments. And he's just a guru, and he's wonderful, and it's totally worth it. But anyway, so naturally I was ecstatic, because this is what I do for a living. I'm a musician. And so anyway, I was so excited, and he only teaches half-hour lessons. So what happens is, in regular school, you have to sign up for 4 credits of studio instruction. And since he only teaches, and you get 15 lessons per semester. Now, if I were to study with this guy, I would have to fit in 30 lessons per semester. So my reasoning was that I would sign up for summer school and start the lessons early so I would get to fit them all in. And it sounded like it was a very logical idea, and the head of my department said, great idea, go for it, go ahead.
But?
So I went ahead and signed up for summer school, and I paid about $1,250 for 2 credits of summer school. Now, what happened next was that I got a call to go to Europe for a month to play, and this was really exciting too because this friend in Paris had gotten gigs for me and it would alleviate a lot of the cost, and I'd never been overseas, so that was great. Unfortunately, I would have to miss the first week of school.
1 week?
1 week, the first week.
How many class meetings is that?
I think it's about 1 or 2, but usually the first week isn't all that important, but anyway, I notified the school and I told them I'd be away. So what happened was, when I got back to school...
this is past tense. You did go to...
I went to Europe.
Went to Europe,
and
okay.
It was great. I got back, and what happened was, I got back to school, and when I went to the business office to pick up my ID sticker, they said, oh, you owe $1,250. And I said, well, I just subtracted that money from the regular tuition bill because that's what I paid for the 2 credits of summer school. And they said, oh, well, you can't do that. We don't have anything to do with summer school. And what happened was...
Oh, lovely.
So
they're saying there's a minimum cost per semester, win, lose, or draw, regardless of the number of semester hours you carry.
And what they said...
grad school or undergrad?
This is undergrad. And they said, we have nothing to do with summer school. How could you have made such a dreadful mistake? It's all in the catalog. Unfortunately, since I'm a senior there, it was not my first priority to go look in the catalog, although it was a priority of mine to find out. I did not want to pay any more money than I would have paid for full-time tuition.
Whose responsibility is it to advise you on these matters? Are you supposed to see an advisor to get... Well, hold on, I only got you saying.
Oh, sorry.
In most college environments, it's necessary to at least have your advisor give a cursory look at your schedule and say, yeah, I approve of this or don't approve.
Right.
Is that true in your case?
Well, there is, but unfortunately it was June and they weren't around, and the only people that were around were business office people and summer school people. So there wasn't any advisor for me to talk to.
But aren't they supposed to approve your schedule?
Well, summer school apparently has nothing to do with regular fall tuition.
And there's you don't, in other words, your tuition is charged not by the credit hour, but by the semester?
Now that's if you go full time.
Were you full time?
So what I wanted to do was go full time, but since I had paid 2 credits up front, I just figured that if I minus the 2 credits from my full time schedule, somehow the money would even out.
Would it be cheaper?
It would be about the same amount.
If you just started carrying, suppose you just forget about going full time for a moment.
Right.
Suppose you just paid by the credit hour as a part-time student. How much is a credit hour? What's the cost?
$350 per credit.
Per credit. So if you had 10 credits, it'd be $3,500.
Let's see. No, because studio instruction costs a lot more. So if I were to sign, actually, I have the figures right in front of me.
Very quickly.
Okay. Anyway, the point is that when I talked to the people at the business office, they said, well, you have an option. Why don't you drop 2 credits, become part-time, and therefore the money would about even out to what I would have paid. I said, fine, this is wonderful, no problem. I'll just drop the 2 credits.
All right, so then what?
So then I went and to the registrar's office, and I said, I'd like to drop these 2 credits, and they said, well, you can't because drop ad is over. You missed the first week of school, but you can withdraw from the 2 credits. And I said, well,
you still got to pay the tuition though if you withdraw it.
And I said, well, how much would that cost me? And they said 20% of the difference between full time and part time. And I said, well, how much is that going to cost me? And they said $277.
Well, it's cheaper than $1,250.
Well, it certainly is, but at the same time, I'm not taking those 2 classes. And anyway, what happened was they said, you can write a letter to the tuition committee and let them decide. So I wrote this letter to them, and 3 weeks later, every day, by the way, they usurped my ID. I have been sneaking into the building. They won't even issue a temporary ID. I've been a senior. I'm a straight-A student. I feel just so taken advantage of, and the tuition is so high to begin with. And
I hear you.
I've represented the school. They always send me out to represent the school. And
have you talked to the president of the college?
So what I did was
quickly,
after the tuition...
20 seconds is all I got.
Okay, the tuition committee rejected it, and then I wrote a letter to the dean and the president. And they've been putting me off. I can't get an appointment with either of them, and I heard through the grapevine that he's 99% sure that he's not gonna issue it in my favor.
Tell you what I want you to do. I want you to hold on. If at least I can't make the guy decide in your favor, right?
Right.
But you're a nice young lady. Maybe if Sheila calls him tomorrow, we get an appointment with you. Would you like that?
Yeah.
You hold on, and Sheila's going to call the president of that. Let's face it, he doesn't want us talking about him. I think he ought to be a decent man and at least talk to you. That's what executives are about. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Just a quick note for Wednesday of this week, because we're going to do our taping session a little differently. We're going to do it at noon, 12 noon Eastern Daylight Time, from noon until 3 Eastern Daylight Time on Wednesday. The taping times will be a little different, so if you'd like to give us a shout on Wednesday afternoon, I will be very grateful to you. And we'll be talking about that tomorrow night again. Don't forget the Talknet birthday party. If you call Ticketron, if you're on the East Coast and you'd like to come, it's in just outside of New York City in New Jersey at the Sheraton Hotel on the Meadowlands, which is a gorgeous hotel. You'll enjoy yourself there. Quick rundown, we'll be doing a thing we call Meeting Bruce Williams. All the Talknet folks will be there, both on and off microphone, and you'll get to hear a few things that you wouldn't get to see and hear on the air, as would be the case in the situation. It's kind of hopefully meet us all in person. The date is the 28th of November, Tuesday after Labor Day, after Thanksgiving. If you'd like to come and see us, the general admission is $20 a person, $25 for the Golden Circle, which is in the front rows. Now, the number is the place to go is Ticketron. You can call them with your credit card in hand, or you can stop by any Ticketron outlet. I do hope you'll make it a point to pick up your tickets now. Brooklyn, NY, the city of churches. Hello.
Hi, Bruce. Hope you can help me.
I'll try.
We had a fire in our house about 7 months ago, and we called up our broker the next day and told him about it, and he told us that he gave us the name of a public adjuster to come down to estimate all the damages and to help put the claims through.
All right, let's explain the role of a public adjuster, shall we?
Yeah.
He is employed by you to negotiate your position with the insurance company. And he gets a percentage of the award for that service, right?
Right.
Okay.
We signed a contract with him for 12.5%.
Okay, so if you get $1, he gets 12.5 cents.
That's right.
All right.
Okay, he put in all the claims. He asked us for estimates for all the damages we had. Fire department had to break some windows. We needed stuff, fixed up.
Mm-hmm.
We gave him all the estimates.
What did they come to?
About $6,000.
You really needed a public adjuster for this one?
Well, we didn't know anything about it. Our broker told us to use it.
Huh.
So, turns out, he comes by and he looks at everything and he goes and says, not much damage here, but look, we'll see what we can do for you. And I gave him estimates, and all the estimates were legit estimates. Everything was work that had to be done.
For $6K?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He comes now a couple of weeks ago, calls us up. He says he's got a check for us, but he doesn't want 12.5%. He thinks he needs 1/3. He says he worked extra hard to get this money.
How much was the check for?
$6,000. It was for $6,100.
Tell him the deal is 12.5%. That's exactly what you're going to pay him, not a penny more.
Exactly, except he's got a check and we don't.
Doesn't matter. You call the insurance company.
We did, and they said once they gave the check out, they said there's nothing more they can do about it. They gave the check.
That's absolutely untrue. Call your broker.
I did, and he's on his side. He says we should give him 1/3 because he's getting a kick. He says that's the usual custom.
That's a lot of CRAP. Did the broker recommend this guy too?
Yes, he did.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
And he's getting some type of kickback or
commission, referral fee, finder's fee, nonsense. You have a contract that says 12.5%, right?
Right.
First of all, you call your broker tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Tell him you talked to me.
Right.
And you tell the broker that I suggested that unless he trotted over to see his buddy, that you should make a complaint to the licensing commissioner in the state of New York about his and see if this broker really is fit to have a license.
Okay, very good.
That he recommended this miscreant to you, and now he's telling you you have a written contract. Is that correct?
Yes.
That you should pay more than the written contract calls for. You tell him that you're going to hold him responsible since he is your broker. You come to him for advice. He is to represent you. He sent you to this person. The person said 12.5%. You said okay. And now he is counseling you to pay a bigger percentage. Tell him unless you have a check in your paws by the end of the day after tomorrow, that you really have no, and you tell him I said so.
Okay, I will.
That you have no other choice but to talk to the insurance commission about this guy's fitness for a license.
Okay, great. Very good.
Take good care.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bruce.
God, that's like a shakedown, for crying out loud. Pure and simple. If there's somebody in this business that wants to give me a call and tell me otherwise, I'm delighted to listen to your side. 212-245-6040 is our number. We always try to be fair. The other side has a shot. 212-245-6040. Or alternatively, if you're in the insurance business and you support my position, same number, 212-245-6040. Me, I'm Bruce Williams. And yeah, this is Talknet. Alrighty, do we have anybody or do we not? Okay, we're going to move on, Sheila, to Orlando. We'll come back about the insurance thing in just a moment. Orlando, the home of the mouse, the magic mouse.
Hello, Bruce.
Hello there.
I've got a question concerning buying a country store near the Ocala area. My son and I are interested in it, and right now it's making a pretty good profit, but about one...
What does that mean, a pretty good profit?
Well, it takes in about $700 to $800 a day.
A day? Oh, we got to start doing this. How many? How much a year? You tell me. That's $4,200. $700 a day is $5,000 a week.
$300,000 a year.
All right. And?
We figure 80 of that is profit.
Well, how do you figure? Did they tell you that, or did?
No, taken from the profit and loss statement.
Well, then they told you that.
Yes.
From their figures, they netted $80,000.
Yes.
And how many people are? When you start talking about net, you said your son and yourself, right?
Yes.
Would you both have to work to earn that $80,000, or is that one person's salary, or what?
No, that would be both of us working.
And well, let's turn it around. Currently, is it a husband and wife running this place?
Yes.
And they both work all day?
Yes.
6 or 7 days a week?
That's right.
Then you're buying yourself a job, that's all.
That's right. Now, here's my question. About 1/3 of the store, it's a small country store, and about 1/3 of it is taken up with a little restaurant that they've got in there for serving breakfast and sandwiches and plate lunches.
Probably the highest profit item in the joint.
No, that department is losing money.
Why is that?
Well, first, I don't think they charge. There isn't enough business to really have a restaurant, I don't believe.
All right.
But my son is under the opinion that neither one of us want to keep it.
Okay.
But he says it would be the biggest mistake we could make to discontinue it when you first take over the business. He says wait about a few months and then do it.
I agree with that. Don't walk in and start changing everything around until you find out what you're going to do, what you're doing.
Well, when there's only one person in there, and if they're cooking, the people have to wait to check out. And I maintain that if you're going to make the change, that you'd be better off doing it the minute you start in and just do the whole thing at once.
I disagree. I'm with your son. I would want to be on site for a little while to determine exactly what's going on before I made a decision. Maybe 3 or 4 months is too long a period of time, but I wouldn't walk in there with a meat axe. Keep it open for a month, make your own decisions, and maybe you could change things around or change the cuisine or who knows what, but make it after you've been there and got your hands dirty for a month.
But don't make any changes till after a month.
I wouldn't make any till I got settled in and find out. They're clearly doing something right, or you wouldn't be looking about buying it.
No, that's correct.
And you can make the changes, but you act in haste, you repent in leisure.
No, I agree with that.
Good luck with the deal.
Thank you very much.
All righty. Port Huron, Michigan. Hello there.
Hi.
Hi.
I sell life insurance, and I agree exactly with what you said.
Well, I'm delighted to hear that.
Yeah, in Michigan, it's called misrepresentation, and as soon as you go to court, and as soon as the commissioner says, yes, that's what you did, you lose your license.
Well, I think this guy's license really ought to be at least slapped on the wrist pretty doggone hard.
Yeah.
Listen, thank you very, very much. I appreciate that.
That's no problem.
Sheila tells me we had a number of calls from insurance people, all of whom agree with me. So, Brooklyn, I want you to go after this miscreant. I really do. All righty. Let me remind you that we are recording on Wednesday, a little bit different time. On Wednesday, we'll be doing it from noon to 3 Eastern time. That's Eastern Standard Time. The reason that I have to catch a plane, and this way we will work it in so I can be here and then be with you that same evening. Troy, Michigan, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing real well, thank you.
I have a problem with a pest control company I had that treated my house.
Past tense. Pad, huh?
Well, I've still got a problem.
All right. No, I thought the pest control company was past tense.
Do what?
Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyways, they treated my house and with a chemical called Dursban. and I'm getting this odor through my furnace in the winter when I kick the furnace on. And I'm just wondering...
I haven't a clue if that's the problem. I mean, have you talked to anybody else to come and use their... I hit the button. I don't want the company name, please.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
The company that treated my house came and they realized that the chemical they put down is what's causing the problem.
That's agreed upon by both parties, huh?
Right. And then the company that makes the chemical that sells it to
they're easy now. You're going to blow it again. I mean, I'll let you go altogether.
No. The company that makes the chemical that sells it to the pest control company also came out. And they realized that is the smell.
All right, so what is the cure for this problem?
Well, I don't know.
Well, what do they say? They're the experts. You're not supposed to know.
Well, they put a charcoal filter in my furnace.
All right. It only comes up through the furnace.
Right. And see, I've got a crawl space.
Well, wait. What, you have a hot air furnace?
Yes.
Well, if push came to shove, now you correct me if I'm mistaken here, right? If you just sucked the air in from some other place, you wouldn't be sucking this. If you put some kind of a long intake from somewhere else other than that crawl space where this stuff is, that would solve the problem.
Well, see, what the problem is I've got all my duct work is underneath there.
So what? The ducts are sealed.
Well, the ducts are like between the rafters.
Well, so what? It's getting sucked into the furnace. I don't think it's coming in through the metal, the aluminum in the ducts.
Right, but see, what they were supposed to do is they were supposed to rod it down into the soil. Yeah. And they surface sprayed this chemical.
Okay, but without regard to that, let's start with the premise that the stuff is surface sprayed and it's there and it has a long residual effect, all right?
Right.
The fact is that stuff is leaching into the air in your crawl space. Would you agree to that?
Right.
And then the furnace is sucking the air out of the crawl space and shooting it up into the house.
Right.
Now, if those are the conditions, then it would seem to me reasonable that if you took the furnace and put an extra duct on it, and pull the air in from outside someplace, it wouldn't be sucking in this polluted air, and therefore it would be taking freshly heated air up into your house.
Well, that's really not... See, the way it's designed is the ductwork is, like I said, in between the joists underneath the house.
All right.
And it sucks the air from inside the house.
That's a return.
Okay, that's a return then, the cold air return.
Yeah.
And I guess somewhere along the line, the metal is like nailed up against...
That's not the problem, I guarantee you. Problem is that you're correct in your observation that there's supposed to be a circulating system that returns it, right?
Right.
But there's also fresh air being taken into the system. The system isn't perfect. It's not just taking the air from your house, it's also taking air from the crawl space at the same time.
Right.
Now, the other alternative would be just remove the furnace. Put it someplace else.
Yeah, but see, being that it was done incorrectly, it was supposed to be rotted.
I understand that, but you want the problem solved. You've already fixed responsibility. Now you want to solve the problem, don't you?
Right. Okay. Well, will they be willing to do this for me?
I would think they'd have to. There's a couple of other things you could probably do to minimize this. You go into the crawl space, or they would. And cover the dirt with more dirt, with another 6 inches of dirt.
Well, yeah, but this crawl space is just barely enough to where you can't even get on your hands and knees.
Well, and you're going to have to get in there and it's somebody that just... I'm suggesting a couple of things. I know you don't want to hear those things.
Right.
What would you suggest as a possible... let's go you tell me how you solve this problem.
I don't know. See, I was hoping that the company would really solve the problem.
I think they should have to, but don't you see there's a couple of relatively, not necessarily inexpensive solutions, but a solution.
Right.
Get the damn furnace out of there. It'd be the easy solution. Put it somewhere else.
Okay. And you think that if I was to ask them to do this...
I think I'd demand. I wouldn't ask them. You created the problem. It's a health. You don't want this. They don't want this stuff being pumped into your house. That could cause some problems for your family.
Right. See, my wife's pregnant and everything.
Indeed. Well, bring that to their attention. I think the easiest thing to do would be to relocate the furnace. Now, that may be that you'll have to put a little shed next to your house. I don't mean you, but them.
to relocate the furnace. Then all you do is extend the ductwork, and we're not talking about a tremendous amount of money, but that would be probably the easiest thing to do. Now, the next thing to determine is if this stuff is leaching into the house by natural conditions. I doubt seriously that's the case, but I'd sure want to know.
Right.
When the furnace isn't going, is this stuff penetrating the floor joists and so forth? If it is, then it's a question of getting in there and just getting rid of the infected dirt.
Right. Because, see, I think also, I had, like I said, I had termite damage, and I believe they sprayed the wood up underneath there, too.
Well, you have to spray the wood in most cases. You got to treat the place where the termites are as well as the colonies underground.
Right.
But if it's just a question of the furnace is sucking up this contamination from the crawl space, the easiest thing to do would be to remove the furnace, put it someplace else.
Right.
But I don't want to underestimate, and I wouldn't want you to, that with whatever damage there may be of the stuff coming into the house through other means. But if it's only the furnace, and you say you only notice in the wintertime.
Right, it's only in the winter. The air conditioner's fine.
Well, the air conditioner's not down there, is it?
Well, no, but it sucks the air from the same place.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Where's the I don't think so. Where's the air conditioner located?
The air conditioner is located, the A coil is located inside of the
crawl space?
Well, no, but...
No, it's outside someplace.
Right, but the return, it uses the same air, through the return.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to explain to you, maybe I'm wrong. Well, I don't think I am. That not only the furnace takes the return air, but it takes other air in its immediate environment. The return is not perfect, put it that way.
Right.
So it takes extra air, and that extra air is coming from the crawl space.
Right. Exactly.
Well, the air conditioner's not down there.
Well, no, but the air conditioner is outside.
That's right, so it's taking fresh... Oh, boy.
No, the air conditioner, the unit...
The coil is clearly outside, it has to be.
No, the coil is inside.
The exchanger is inside? It's the first air conditioner ever made where they keep it inside.
No, see, the compressor itself is outside, right?
That's where the exchanger is, yes.
So you're telling me that cold air is drawn past the air conditioner that's out? I mean, air is drawn past...
I don't know. Where's the motor that drives the thing?
The motor that drives
the cold air?
Inside the...
Is it the same one that drives the hot air?
Right.
In that case, maybe it's a question of when this stuff... when the temperature is raised in the crawl space. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Would seem to me, though, that the natural temperature in the crawl space in the summertime ought to be equal to the raised temperature in the wintertime. Does that make any sense?
Well, the crawl space is rather cool in the summer.
In the summertime.
Right.
And it's pretty hot in the wintertime.
Well, no, but
It's hotter?
The crawl space is a little bit warmer than the outside air in the wintertime. Sure.
The outside I'm not concerned with. What I'm trying to get to, I mean, we're talking at cross purposes. Any liquid, I don't care what it is, whether it's liquid steel or liquid mercury or anything else, has a point, I believe, that where it becomes, I think the proper word...
Volatile.
Yes, where it goes into the air.
Right.
When it reaches that point. Now, apparently it's only reaching that point in the wintertime.
Right.
When you artificially raise the temperature in the crawl space.
Right.
Now, that may be another solution. Keep it into freezes and, little frost on the ground, right?
Right.
Well, these little rascals, a lot of times when their burrows have been disturbed, or even if they've not, they want to move in where it's warm.
Okay.
And that's your place. I mean, you go out and buy yourself a dozen of those little traps for $0.25 a piece, 30 cents, whatever they cost, the little spring jobs, and you put some little bacon and peanut butter in there, and you use them for a week, and that'll take care of your mouse problem.
The second part of that question was that I heard about these little electronic sonic devices.
The jobbies that are supposed to drive the cockroaches crazy and the mice insane and so forth.
Right. Send them away.
Best of my knowledge, they are just not what they're cracked up to be.
Gotcha.
If they were, they'd be using them, they would be far more extensively used than they are. It looks good in the back of magazines and that sort of thing. That's where you see those kind of ads, or on late night television.
Right.
But as a practical matter, you're better off to go, in my opinion, just to go with the traps, and I think your problem will be over in a week or two.
Wonderful. Bruce, I appreciate it. Hopefully when I've got a bigger one, I'll be able to count on you.
You could get a cat,
That's true.
Well, a lot of today's cats are not big mousers either.
Really?
Oh, well, they're too lazy. I mean, the domestic cats, my goodness. Now, yesterday, my dog Mickey is not exactly known for his hero. He's not a hero, to say the least, all right? And I
open the door, let him go out the backyard, and he takes about 2 steps past the garage, and he stands there for a minute. And he kind of does an about face, walks up on the porch, unless he's ready to come back in the house, right? And here goes a cat. The cat's bigger than he is. We have some, they're domestic cats, but these belong to nobody. These guys are nothing but hunters out there in the back. You know, there's enough field around my house to support that kind of a habit, right? Mickey took one look at this sucker and said, he's got me outclassed. I'm not angry. I am not the least bit angry with him. I'm going back in the house. The cat didn't lose his cool. He kind of wandered across the street. He kind of, you know. So that dog is not going to intimidate me.
That's great.
Well, I don't think we have too many mice problems. Those guys are out there hunting all the time.
Guess not.
Take good care, my friend.
Have a good night.
I will do so.
Bye.
Greenwood, South Carolina. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
I saw you in People Magazine. It's nice to put a face with a voice.
Oh, thank you, sir. Such a face. What's up?
I've got a little problem with my daughter who lives in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
About 5 months ago, she bought a car, and the car apparently was a repossessed car.
Mm-hmm.
And she bought it from this guy who was a private detective, so apparently he had picked it up in his business somewhere.
Just picked it up.
Yeah.
Huh?
I don't know the exact story on that, but he gave her the title and the bill of sale and said, be sure and don't lose this. Well,
I would suspect that that's good advice almost any time when you get a title and a bill of sale.
Well, guess what happened?
She lost it.
Both of them.
Naturally.
Now, she talked to the people at the highway department, and they said, well, you know, maybe if you can tell us what state it came from. So they keep all these records of titles by states.
Well, of course.
But I mean, there's no big central bank where they can look up a number.
Well, no, because vehicles are registered with motor vehicle departments in any one of the 50 states of the District of Columbia.
Right.
As well as the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico too. Let's get that in there.
Well, so she goes back to the guy she bought it from, and he says, well, you know, I told you not to lose the title. You know, you could reissue a bill of sale, but I have no idea what state it came from.
Oh, boy.
So here we are 5 months later with a car and no title.
Well, wait a while.
And no tag, of course.
Well, there has to be some method whereby in your state that a car that you have possession of can be titled. Now, have you talked to never mind the state police, or have you talked to the Department of Motor Vehicles?
Well, that's difficult to do. In North Carolina, apparently, you have to go all the way to Raleigh to do that.
Well,
that may be what I have to do.
Well, unfortunately, that may be what you'll have to do.
Right.
But in every state, there is some mechanism, either by affidavit and engine block tracings and a whole bunch of other things that you really shouldn't have to do, but your daughter was careless. But there are ways to legitimize the registration and get a new bill of sale for the cars.
Right, the bill of sale is no problem. I can get another bill of sale from the guy.
Well, maybe I should say a certificate of title then.
Right.
And that can be issued by the state. And there's got to be there has to be a method someplace in the law that takes into account lost, destroyed, strayed, and otherwise unavailable papers for automobiles.
Like I said, they told her they could do that if you tell her.
I understand what you're telling me, but there has to be a mechanism, just without regard to that.
Okay.
Of getting the job done. Now, I think you probably ought to be talking to somebody in motor vehicles, and if they can't get the right answer, then she ought to be talking to her state representative, because those folks work for him or her.
Okay.
Take good care.
Great. Love you.
How old is this gal?
She's 20, going on 14.
Yeah, I hear you. Ain't parenthood wonderful?
I love it.
Take good care.
Thanks a lot, Bruce.
Portland, Oregon, it's your turn. Hello.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
Calling from Portland, and my husband, I was calling in regards to a final paycheck of his that was held from a former job.
Why was it held?
He had only held the position for a month and got a better offer from someone else and came up here. Mm-hmm. And the man claims that he has a right to hold it because he wants a promissory note signed by my husband stating that he will pay back any moving expenses.
Well, did the guy pay moving expenses?
Yes, he did.
Oh, I think your husband is clearly responsible for him if he only stayed a month.
Well, you know, we weren't too sure because this was a job that was applied for months before that.
Without regard to that, your husband, this guy paid to move you from where to where?
From Texas to Illinois.
And you left in 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think your husband is taking advantage of him. Absolutely, I would go after your paycheck too.
Okay.
I really would. I mean, after all, he only worked for the guy 1 month. Pay the guy put out a ton of money to move him.
Yeah.
No, I think the guy's clearly right.
Okay.
Hi, Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Keene, New Hampshire. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi.
Hello, baby. What's up?
I've got a financial problem from the past.
What was it? Dickens said, from the near past? No, your past. What's happening, kid?
I'm a college student.
Okay.
And last spring, I lived with a girl that graduated last spring also.
Mm-hmm.
And all the bills of the apartment were in my name.
How did you come to get in that sorry situation?
It just happened that way. Basically, I didn't really know her when we moved in together, and I trusted her. And when we moved out of this apartment, all the bills were forwarded to my home address, and they totaled to about $400.
Okay, and I take it El Rumi did not use very good judgment, or maybe she did from her point of view, but she wasn't responsible anyway.
No.
You're stuck city, huh?
Yep, I tried calling her herself because I had her phone number where she was this summer.
Mm-hmm.
I tried writing her a couple of times with copies of the bills with the things highlighted that she owed. And then finally, in the middle of the summer, I finally had to write her parents with copies of all the bills.
What did her parents say?
I got no word from them. They never answered anything of mine either.
Mm-hmm. Is she in New Hampshire?
No. I have no idea where she is now. I know her parents are in Massachusetts.
Well, I'd call her parents if I were you.
Okay, I was wondering, because I've listened to you.
I think you're stuck.
Okay.
But I'd call her parents and say, I trusted your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She asked me if I put the bills in my name, and I did because my credit is good, and I take it you've already paid these bills.
Yeah, they're paid.
And I paid the bills, but it just seems to me your daughter is very irresponsible. Now, I don't know if you want to pick up that responsibility or not, but I'm here to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing there's no way that you can force her. Force them for a variety of reasons, some practical and some legal.
Okay.
But I certainly would ask them, and I want to talk to them on the phone about it.
Okay, what if they say it's, this is between you and her?
In that case, would you mind giving me her address?
Okay.
You say, yes, you're probably right, it is, but I would say to them, you're not doing a very good job. You didn't do a very good job in raising this person.
Okay.
See what they say to that.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
It could be argued. Let me say that. What's your first name?
Nancy.
Nancy, could be argued. The parents could argue, this isn't our idea, and, we're responsible, but our daughter isn't. And they're clearly responsible parents who just happen to get unlucky with a kid for a time.
Mm-hmm.
But if they refuse to give you her address, then they are being as responsible, irresponsible.
Okay, I was wondering also if all of this does not work out, could I take this to small claims court?
The problem is, Nancy, she's in a different state.
Okay.
It'd be virtually impossible. Yes, the answer is technically yes.
Okay.
But, do you want to run down to Houston or that kind of thing?
No.
That's what it comes down to.
No. Okay.
I wish you well, dear.
Okay, thank you.
Hang in there. Do you have a new roommate?
Yes, I do.
Are you putting the bills in everybody's name?
Yes, we're all set this year.
You learn from mistakes, don't you, babe?
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Nancy.
Okay, bye.
That's tough. It sounds like not much money, but for a young person, that's a lot of dough. And, you got to wonder how people can be as irresponsible as that. How do you live with yourself? I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. San Diego, it's your turn. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Okay, I think I should give you a little bit of background on what my problem is. Okay, I'm 27 years old, and on the 3rd of January this year, I purchased a brand new car. Okay?
Yeah.
I put a $1,000 down payment on it. My credit rating was terrific. These people could not wait to sell me this car.
Take a deep breath.
Okay.
What's your first name?
Kathy.
Kathy, you're trying to put 4 pounds of material in a 1 pound jar here. Just take it easy.
Okay.
Okay, Kathy, go ahead. So you bought the car and you put $1,000 down. This is a new automobile?
Brand new.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, I bought the car on the 3rd of January this year. On the 17th of January this year, as a pedestrian crossing the street, I was hit by a truck and very seriously injured.
Oh, dear.
Okay, I spent 3 months in the hospital. I didn't get out till the end of March. The first thing that my husband did, without realizing the ramifications, is he returned the car.
How can you return a car?
That's just it. Okay.
You can't.
Well, now the car has been... I didn't even get a chance to put a first payment down on the car. Now the car has been listed as a repossession, and it is terrible. It's making my credit rating horrible.
It goes beyond that. They probably sold it at auction with a big, big deficiency, which they're going to come after you for.
Well, they were trying to, okay, but then for some reason they decided not to.
Well, you're fortunate in that regard. But I mean, how old is your husband?
My husband's 32.
He didn't realize what he was doing?
Well, he's simple. Anyway, so now as a result, I cannot get a major credit card. I can't even get decent housing because when people make a credit check, the first thing they find is this repossession.
Absolutely.
Now I'm living in a roach-infested flea-bag apartment. I have 2 store credit cards, both of which I paid off. Okay, I owe no money on my store credit cards. But what I want to know is there any way that I can get this repossession taken off my TRW?
I don't see how. It's all they're doing is reporting the facts.
Yes, but you see, the car was purchased in my name and not my husband.
Yeah, but the payments weren't made for 3 months.
I didn't get a chance to make one payment. I
understand that you were in the... Well, what you could do is go back to the company and explain the circumstances, but your husband acted in your stead. Foolishly, stupidly, whatever adjective you care to use, but he did. Now, you have a right to put a letter in that file of 250 words explaining what happened, and you can say that I was in a hospital, unable to look after my affairs, and my husband, without my knowledge or consent, did thus and such. Which might help.
Okay.
Are you still married?
Yeah, I'm still married.
Okay.
And plus the fact he's in the Navy and he's out to sea somewhere, so I'm stuck here all by myself.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
So, but like I said, my biggest problem is I cannot get decent housing. Because the first thing people do, they make a credit check. The first thing they see, the repossessed car.
Sure.
Now I can't get decent housing.
Irresponsible person and so on and so forth.
Yes, except that I have a very good paying, steady job now. Okay, it pays me very well, but I'm still stuck in this roach trap.
Well, the best thing you can do at this point, you can do 2 things. You could go back and talk. Well, it's pointless to go back to the automobile company this late, and it's 9-10 months ago. The refinance company don't want to hear about that. You can put a letter of explanation in your file, which is probably your best shot at this point. Because, as I said, explain. Your husband, without your knowledge, consent, or whatever, did thus and such. And he did it while I was in the hospital, unable to look after my own affairs and so on. I didn't know this till it was a fait accompli. I tried to put it straight, but the car was already sold and so on and so forth. And it's not going to do it may help a little, not a whole lot.
Okay, well, who would I send that to?
Anybody, well, you mentioned TRW. If they have a credit report on you, which apparently they do, then you can send that letter to TRW, and it's a federal law. They must put that into your file and give it to everyone who gets a copy of your credit report. You are maxed out at 2,500 words.
Okay.
And every time you're turned down, you have a right to get a copy of whatever credit report was used, and if the letter is not in there, you can so put it in that file too.
Okay.
Take good care, sweetheart.
Thank you.
That's tough. And clearly your husband just did the wrong thing. Made a huge blunder. Atlantic City, NJ. Hello.
Hello, Bruce. How are you this evening?
I am very well, thank you.
Good. I'm delighted to talk to you. First, I wanted to tell you that about 5 years ago, your advice helped my wife set up a very successful baking business.
Did you? Wow.
And it's going along wonderfully.
Super.
Tell you what I'm calling about this evening. We're about to open another business, and it's going to be a fine craft shop. There's going to be very expensive items, $800, $1,000, $1,500.
My goodness, what kind of crafts?
Fine porcelains, hand-blown glass, ceramics.
All the upscale stuff, huh?
All the upscale yuppie stuff, right.
All right.
Right. Here's our question. What happens when a customer comes in and picks up a beautiful $800 hand-blown.
I can see where you're coming from.
Right, and they drop.
Lovely to look at, delightful to hold, but if it's broken, we mark it sold.
And, I hate going into a store that says that and says, no eating, no drinking, no.
Well, you're going to have to in a place, and things that are worth that kind of money should not be there to fondle. They ought to be inside cases where someone opens the case and shows them on a one-to-one basis.
But you can't have everything behind cases.
Well, I know there are very few places that I know that you can go in and start picking up $1,500 breakable items. There are some, clearly, but not too very many. There may be some crystal, for example, where there may be a dozen glasses on display, but you'd only drop one at a time, theoretically, anyway.
Hopefully.
You know what I'm saying. I know of very few places that you can handle stuff of that value. Can you think of some examples that you can? I mean, most stores that I've shopped in,
galleries.
But you're talking about paintings, you mean?
No, I'm talking about the same kind of an art gallery.
Maybe I just don't shop in the right stores. But most places that I've been in, when you get to the expensive, fragile materials, I'm not talking about $100 or $200, but the numbers you're throwing around. Well, for example, one of the things that I have some interest in are porcelain birds.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get up to some pretty impressive numbers in a rush.
Right.
I've yet to see one that was on display where I could touch it. Mm-hmm. It's been handed to me from behind glass many times. I can't think of an occasion. Even when you get into the lower line stuff like Yadro, which, you can go for some pretty important bucks there too. But I mean, I don't ever recall the more expensive stuff being out where you can touch it. I just don't think you can afford to do that. You got a big glass cases.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I just can't think of a place. And I've been in, stores all over the joint.
Right now, our approach is that many of these things do need to be handled. The purchasers want to handle them.
Yes, but they're handled they're handled one-on-one.
Right.
With a sales clerk.
Okay, if we are not going to put everything behind glass or all the important pieces behind glass, and one of the problems and the difficulties we run into is you might have one piece that's 8 inches tall, and then you might have a piece that's 2 feet in diameter.
Yeah. So what?
To accommodate enclosing everything.
Yeah, but the problem. All right, what can I tell you? I know what you're telling me.
Mm-hmm.
What I would do if I were you, go to other stores that sell this stuff, real upscale stuff, and see how they're handling the problem.
We have. Jewelry is behind glass.
Yeah.
And there's expensive jewelry.
Yeah.
And that's behind glass because it's
easily hidden on the body. That's right.
Yeah. But the large pieces.
Large fragile pieces are on display?
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, maybe we shop in different places. We clearly we do.
Well, do you find a sign, a little card that says, please ask for assistance, offensive?
It's not offensive. It's meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to pay attention.
And in the event that somebody drops it, even if it's a one-on-one, how does one handle it?
Well, if it's if you and the clerk are working together,
mm-hmm.
I would have a tough time with that one. If it's on if you hand it to the person drops it. I mean, come on, you're there. That's what you're there for, to see that you don't hint to somebody irresponsible and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I just don't see how. I think your idea of having this stuff out like a supermarket just isn't going to fly. It's not going to fly. I just can't think of a store. I mean, one of the let me see. I'm trying to think of that. There's a chain, and it's in you see it in the Caribbean. The two names. Come on, help me. Spritzer and Furman.
Mm-hmm.
Now they certainly have an enormous display of the kind of stuff you're talking about. Okay,
mm-hmm.
It's always behind. But they have counters, and it's in glass cases behind the counters,
mm-hmm.
and the sales clerk will always take it out and show it to you.
Mm-hmm.
I just think you're going to be in for a real bad time otherwise.
So you think that if a sales clerk is standing there,
well, it's one-on-one. You don't have. First of all, you don't have people going past and hit them with their umbrella,
right?
With their floppy coat or whatever,
right? You
don't have them dropping one on another,
right?
And I mean, I've looked at a few of these things over the years, and I just think you're wrong. That's all. You're telling me that people display them. God bless. I just don't know places they do.
But then, if it is behind glass and you have to take it out
Then those,
show the
I think you
customer,
got to eat the breakage.
then
there.
you eat it.
That's right. If it's on display, that's another story. Then I definitely got to eat it.
Okay, Bruce, we always listen to you.
Good luck, my friend.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, it's tough when you have expensive stuff, but I don't see how in the world you can just leave a lot of expensive, fragile things stacked up here in another place. You can bet your life that it's going to get broken. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet. Early in the forenoon, because at noon promptly we'll be taking your calls off the air from noon to 3 for broadcast later on the very same day. If you'd like to join us, the number is 800-TALKNET. Grand Rapids, hello.
Hi, Bruce.
How you doing, kid?
I love your show.
Thank you. We're coming your way in November.
That's what I understand.
Yeah, you believe it, we'll have a good time.
I'm trying to get tickets, but they're kind of hard, but we're working on it.
Not to worry. Speaking of tickets, if you need tickets, if you're in the New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut area, there are tickets available for our birthday party, the 28th of November at the Sheraton Hotel, a gorgeous Sheraton in the Meadowlands. You can call Ticketron. I would suggest that you not order general admission tickets right now, but the Golden Circle tickets at $25 a piece, that entitles you some extras, including front row seats, are available. And the other general admission tickets we'll talk about next week, but just call Ticketron. If you're going to come and see us, all the Talknet folks will be there, and I will be doing the evening with Bruce Williams, which I hope you'll enjoy. That's the Tuesday beyond Thanksgiving, and I really would like to see a lot of our friends there. If there's any questions, you can just drop us a note, carry your local radio station, if you have a question about the event. Okay, Grand Raps, what's on your mind?
Okay, I purchased some land in north of here, about 80 acres, and I had some deer hunters approach me. We had it posted with a phone number on it. And I had some deer hunters approach me to lease it.
Yeah.
And they're willing to pay $400 to hunt on it for the 2 weeks of deer season. And what I'm wondering is I don't have it insured.
You ought to have it insured. Without regard to this issue, you should have it insured.
Right. Now, I just purchased this. Well, it's been about a year now.
Yeah, but what happens if some kid is hurt up there? Falls down a well or who knows what?
Well, what I'm looking at is I'm operating a business on there, too.
What kind of a business?
We just started, I grow Christmas trees.
Huh.
And we put in 15 acres this year. But I was wondering if I could get like an umbrella policy or how I should go about it where it would cover me and in case anybody else, including snowmobilers, were to...
Well, what you need is a liability policy. A CPL, a comprehensive personal liability policy on that property. Now, you may be able to make it a part of your homeowners. I doubt it. Well, maybe not. Even with the plantation on it, you may be able to. Do you have your own home?
No, I don't.
All right. In that case, you just go to see your broker, but you ought to do that tomorrow morning.
Get right on it.
Oh, absolutely. You should never own a piece of property uninsured with liability insurance, because if, God forbid, somebody's hurt, they're going to sue the pants off you. Now, they may be wrong. But the cost of the defense can murder you.
Even if it's posted.
Has nothing to do with anything. How does a 5-year-old know about posting?
Right.
And furthermore, even if it's posted, the guy could be there committing a crime. He can still sue you for negligence. The classic example of that is the guy that locks himself in the store. Hides so that he's in the store at nighttime and gets hurt and sues the guy who owns the store and wins.
It doesn't seem right, but...
It certainly doesn't seem right. You're absolutely right.
So the only way to do it is to get the policy, and I listened to you before. You said like $1 million.
A minimum of $1 million.
And do you have any idea what that'd run a year?
I wouldn't begin to attack that. Depends upon too many variables that we can't deal with here.
Okay.
Good luck, my friend.
Thank you.
All righty, to Orlando, home of the Wild Mouse. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
I finally got up courage enough to call you. I was hoping somebody would have my problem before me, and I wouldn't have to.
Well, I am glad that you called. What's up, dear?
I have a military husband, and he insists on filing our joint income tax himself. Well, for years he did this. We always got delays, and then he would finally file and get. But since 1982, he hasn't filed
at all.
No, he's gotten the thing that really jerks my chain is that we're due a rebate, probably $1,000, $1,500 for all those years.
Why doesn't he file?
I don't know. How much can a wife do? I've done everything but threaten to turn him into the IRS if he doesn't file.
What you should do. See, since he is being withheld the likelihood is that he doesn't owe anything, but that doesn't in any way, shape, form, or regard relieve him of the responsibility of filing.
Right.
And he can file returns. It's not a job for doing it himself. He should have an accountant file. There's some forms that must be completed. But sooner or later, they're going to catch him.
Right.
And they catch him, they're going to make it hot for him. But if he does it himself, if he does it gratuitously, voluntarily, the likelihood is he may even get money back.
Well, it's every year we have 2 children that are no longer with us now. They're married and gone.
Yeah.
And we still claim those on our income tax, so that they're taken out for.
Whoa! That's illegal too.
Oh, is it?
Absolutely. What is your husband doing to service?